This show is brought to you by the Entertainment Consumers Association. Protect your right to game and join the ECA at theeca.com.
Okay, hustlers, get ready. The weekend starts right now. Confirmed. This is the One Up Yours Show podcast for Friday, June the 15th. I'm Garnet Lee. Shane is here with me.
Wait a second, hustlers?
Who's the hustler?
Are you talking to our fans who are flipping crack on the street corner? Is that specifically who you're talking to?
Whatever kind of hustling they're doing, it's all good with us, right?
All right, yeah, sure.
I mean, next week maybe we'll hit the G's.
All right.
Is that good with you?
Fine. As long as you don't rap, that's what I'm trying to keep.
Yeah, keep
from happening here.
I have to say, I think the whole rap thing completely vetoed.
Good.
There weren't a whole lot of votes.
Yeah. Sorry, but for those who were like on my side on that, I'm down with that. But
at least they listen to us sometimes.
Hey, look who's back! It's Patrick.
Hey,
Patrick Klepek.
There he is, back in the. But wait a minute,
2 weeks in a row.
I know this is really technically the third seat though, so I can't really call it the fourth seat.
But does that mean I moved up?
Well, no, not necessarily. No, not necessarily. I mean,
the second backup.
Yeah, we're man down. John is in New York this week, so no.
So, do you want to do the intro on our extra?
Our very special guest.
Very special guest.
Thanks for turning down that microphone because it sounded like a Rush concert in these headphones.
Dude, you just spoiled the big reveal.
What?
You're our very special guest.
Thanks, Shane.
People are always asking for you to be on this podcast. Milky.
Oh boy.
Well, that is James Milkman Milky,
the man.
Here of my own volition.
That's right.
Can you sound any more excited?
I don't know. You guys seem really loud.
Is that a little cooler? Hold on, I'll cool you off a little more, man. I can bring you down. How's that?
No. Like I can barely hear myself compared to like Mr. Klepek.
Well, I can bring you up some more too. We can do all kinds of magic.
Oh, really?
We can do all kinds of magic over here.
Klepek sounds like a goddamn Kiss concert in here.
He does, doesn't he?
I think it's your enthusiasm. It's just too much for Milky.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So as you can guess, Andrew is not with us today. So pour one out for him. How about that, right?
As long as you
can I pour one in me?
You can completely pour one in for you if that's the way you want to roll. So look, here's what the show's going to be like today. We got the rundown coming at you right now. We're going to do what you've been playing in the first segment. Should be especially cool because Milky here, and he always is into something crazy. And I got into a game other than Forza yesterday, so I got something new to talk about. Amazing. Patrick, have you been playing games, of course?
Yes.
Hopefully you've been playing some games. Second segment, as is up on the boards, and we have an 8-page thread already going on it, talking about game compulsions, games you get into, totally pull you out of anything else. You get completely caught up in them. We're going to talk about that. Also have a little news tip from the AMA about game addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then, since you're back, I figured, what the hell? Let's let Patrick do news again.
There you go.
Just makes my day easier for me.
Don't apologize.
I'm all about the easier days, so let's get this thing rolling. You, Mr. Patrick, since you've been playing games, I think you should kick it off.
Hey, I thought you hated games.
Well,
that was the rumor.
I tricked everyone just to get the dotted line this week. The contract went through, so I figured why not head over to EB and pick up some stuff. So I'm actually headed home this weekend for my own friggin' graduation party, so I figured the best idea to pick up some handheld games. I've really been digging on Crush, the PSP game. I don't know if you guys talked about it.
Really
we've been talking how great that is forever. It's
awesome. It's nice because, the way the game is structured, it takes into account how the PSP works. So it makes the camera system part of the gameplay. So you're using the D-pad to flip around the camera. So you're crushing, and it's a real mind bender. And it's kind of like a puzzle game, but like kind of a platformer. So it's a really strange mix, and I like it because it's something different, and I don't feel like I'm playing a PS2 game that's been borked on the PSP.
I really like it too, but I think Sega made some mistakes with like the packaging and the character design.
You think the packaging is a mistake? Wow, that's a leap.
Well, but yeah, it's getting really good scores, great word of mouth. Then you see the game and you're like, oh, the character
looks assy.
Yeah, the character's really unappealing. The art style is kind of weird. Like I feel it's
got a stupid storyline with these cutscenes, and it's just not. The art, it's not even the art style. It's really more about how Sega's marketed it. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. It'll be a word-of-mouth game, but I'm really enjoying that. The only thing I don't like is that it doesn't explain some of the subtle mechanics very well.
Well, also, the difficulty ramps up really quickly.
It does.
And it gets really hard.
And so I don't really feel bad a lot of the time, at least trying the hint system out, because a lot of the puzzles are really difficult. And so I'm liking it. I'm hoping that actually they've been talking about doing a sequel, and maybe we'll get a level editor.
No, actually, I heard that they were talking about moving into other platforms as well.
Yeah, Wii and PS2 were talked about, and that makes a lot of sense. So
is that something that could wind up being DLC?
I think it'd be awesome if it became a download game for PS3 and 360.
I mean, is it? I haven't checked it out. I mean, is there too much there? Is there?
No,
did
it's
they do it?
perfect for DLC, and it's perfect for a level editor, and that's all stuff that I'm sure we'll see as long as the game sells enough. And so hopefully the word of mouth works out. So I'm playing that, and then I also picked up Planet Puzzle League,
which is awesome.
Dude,
I picked it up too.
I haven't gotten to using Wi-Fi, so it's kind of boring right now, just because
we're playing a lot in the office. So you should come over and play with us because there's a lot of really good.
We
competitors.
can confirm now it's 4 players, right?
It is
4.
4 players.
And I haven't played 4 players. So how does it do block distribution?
It's different. It's better actually than GameCube version. It isn't random. Everybody gets everything. You don't get your own, but like if you send something, all 3 guys get it.
Are you talking about Junkyard?
Right. I'm talking about garbage blocks.
Garbage blocks, whatever.
Yeah, whereas in the GameCube version, one person would randomly get the junk, so you could possibly get your own blocks, which was like the worst idea ever. Yeah, you do like a giant screen clearing combo, and suddenly you have all those blocks. Thanks. No, this is
You can own yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really?
You
This
basically
is
just
the
want to
best
sit on the
version.
sidelines during that game. So I'm playing that.
So wait 1 second. What's the range on DS Wi-Fi?
It's about 30 feet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty short.
Yeah, and the corners kind of fuck it up. So
it ain't gonna reach from my office to your
No,
cube.
But it has actual internet Wi-Fi play too with friend codes.
Right.
So.
No, you can play.
So all you
You
have
can
to
play
do
over the
is
internet.
like get your friend's 48-digit code and then enter that in, and then give him your 48-digit code.
That's
and
pretty
then enter
convenient.
that in, yeah.
It's actually 16 digits, I think.
Oh, really? I actually pass
They
out by
chopped it.
around the 12th digit. Like, I don't ever get that
You
far.
don't remember-
you just round it up to 48.
Well, and it's great that there's a different code for every game too. So
Yeah, that's really fun. You know, when I had the best intentions when I put my me up on my blog, and then I got like hundreds of like friend invites and stuff like that. But
and then suddenly, fuck that.
yeah, I was like, you know what? Fuck this, because I didn't want to have to enter like 178 digits per person.
Hold on, my number for this game is.
yeah.
Someone made a joke. What was that joke? Remember we had about friend codes? It was like your cell phone number or some bullshit. Remember that 3 weeks? Yeah, anyway, someone will dredge it up to be like, oh, you don't remember it? Oh man, whatever.
Anyway, so
Face.
the one thing I'm having trouble with Planet Puzzle League is that I got really obsessed with Medios for a long time.
Right.
And I loved that game, and it's very similar. The basic mechanic of moving, horizontally. In Medios, I believe if I remember, you can move it vertically too.
That's only in Disney.
That's only the
videos.
Disney one.
Is that
Yeah.
only a Disney
Only
one?
in
All right.
Disney
But
videos.
anyway, it has a lot of the similar mechanics. So I played a lot of Tetris Attack, but then I went to Medios, and now I'm trying to break my Medios habits. But
Well, I found I've been playing all these games for a very long time, and since I decided to teach myself to use the stylus controls because they actually are more effective and faster.
they are. They're totally
even
more
if you're someone who's
effective.
been playing Tetris Attack for 10 years, it is a little bit of relearning. But now that I've gotten to the point where it is better, I think it is the best version.
And anything
really do.
about scratching the screen is totally bunk. It doesn't work. You can get some stuff off the screen, but you're not going to be a skilled player.
Same with Medios. You will make some
You might save
matches,
yourself
Wait a
once.
minute. Medios, you can scribble like a motherfucker and get some shit
but
going.
you would still win.
But still, if somebody knows what they're doing,
they
they're
would
going to
still
get those
win.
combos when the blocks are coming down from
Right,
the
right.
rockets, and they're going to kick your ass.
Right.
If it's just 2 people who don't know what they're doing, sure, you can scratch all you want. But if you have someone who knows what they're doing, you're not going to get very
Well,
far.
and Planet Puzzle League is like the ultimate high-level play. If you're a really high-level player, you are going to always beat people who are
Right, because it's
doing
based on chains,
Right.
and chains that
Right.
are happening within the puzzle that you planned ahead of time, not shit that you're just scribbling back and forth. You're going to get maybe a 2-3 chain combo if you're just scribbling.
I dig the daily play. See, it's like something like it's almost like the brain training stuff. Like
Yeah.
you get to go in every day and like.
See, I
you
haven't
score.
done that. That it has something a little different that you do every day.
There's 3 games you
just-
can play.
Yeah, and it tracks your progress over time.
Okay,
And does
It
that
has like a
same
little
chart?
graph.
Does that same chart thing? You can like.
That's awesome.
So you can like see your score, see how you're
Can you
improving.
compare that to anybody, like uploading it?
No, you're getting too high tech now. This is only
I'm
Nintendo,
sorry,
man.
This
Come on,
is Nintendo.
It's first generation multiplayer.
You know what's funny? Speaking of puzzle games, because I saw Damien playing Puzzle Quest so much. It's Puzzle Quest.
Is he playing
Right, it's Puzzle
on DS
Quest.
or PSP?
DS.
DS.
I was like, oh, I got to try this thing because he was so addicted to that
It's
game.
pretty good.
I think that I was really into the game, and I like what they're doing with it, with the whole level up and
RPG
like
stuff.
RPG and the things that you add on and you enhance.
As a single player puzzle game, it's pretty inventive. I
It's
think.
pretty good, but I swear to God that game fucking cheats. I swear, because
It might.
I've heard that a lot.
You
I've
can't
heard
see
that a lot.
what's coming next, right? Because it's not like, oh, you can preview what Tetris block is coming next. It's quote unquote random,
Right.
But once the computer gets his turn, it's all of a sudden, all these blocks are coming down that create four block combos, which gives them an extra turn. And these arbitrary extra turns it just happens to get just keep stacking up. Oh, computer, you've just done 24 moves in a row.
I mean, I haven't played the game a whole lot, but I do hate it when suddenly the tide turns and you're like screwed and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
you can't do anything. You just got to sit there and watch it. And
it can go south really quickly.
And you have to accept whatever happens, because there are times where I see it making moves that just do not appear to make any sense, and yet it results in like this amazing combo, and it gets like 4 skulls dropped down in a row. Like you get another turn. You just like took 20 hit points off.
So you found yourself calling bullshit.
You don't think that could happen? Huh? It could totally happen, man. It's just random.
Yeah, I've been stuck on this one boss that I've just been amazed, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I believe this shit. And then
I'm sure you played Breath of Fire once, right? Breath of Fire, same thing. But those battles are not fixed.
How does it work in multiplayer? Is it as frustrating?
I haven't actually.
Yeah, everybody plays a single player. Nobody plays.
Right, I never hear about multiplayer. I'm like, wouldn't that like eliminate the problem? But then is there RPG element to the multiplayer? You're just.
I think you just take your leveled up dude and it all comes. Damien told me that there's a couple game breaking items in there that like once you have them, that there's just no way you lose. I have one of them. I don't have the other one he was talking about. But it's right now like it is fun, but there are a lot of really, really, really cheap elements to it, and like I get kind of pissed off.
I think a sequel will hopefully fix the problems with it. It's a very
there's
cool
there's like an Xbox Live Arcade one coming.
Right.
So
late in October or something, whatever.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe we'll see some of the improvements.
But doesn't so to me, like the RPG, the idea of RPG sort of elements and like more depth to it, at least makes it more valuable. Because like the one thing about Planet Puzzle League is I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, wait a minute, I spent $30 on this. I mean, I'm not dissing on the game. It's a great puzzle game.
I can understand like there are certain like skill caps. Like you're only going to get so good at some point.
Right.
So at least in a game like Puzzle Quest, you can upgrade your character and feel like you're making some progress, even if you've reached your skill cap. Like you can't put in the time to get that good, to get these crazy combos. So I can see the appeal of that.
Yeah, I'm saying this though. I'm saying like the tough thing for like developers is how can you say? I mean, you can see like why casual games are catching on so much when a developer can go out and spend, like maybe a few % of what it costs to develop like a Gears of War to build Planet Puzzle League, sell it for $30, sell a fuck ton of them, and make a lot of money. Versus Gears, which takes like
I don't know where you're going with this comparison.
I'm saying
making
it's only half as much as Gears, but it costs next to nothing.
Making a good puzzle game is so difficult that.
Well, yeah, and I would argue that this is the best puzzle game, and it hasn't really changed in 10 years, and it's still the best puzzle game.
It is really tough as far as like the design, but not as far as the team it took to put together. I mean, you're talking about like the team to put together Gears, and then which is huge and took all this money and time, versus the team it took to put Planet Puzzle League together, which
obviously
is not the same size.
Nintendo does not have to sell 4 million copies of this game to make a profit.
Right, and they're going to sell a ton of them.
I hope so. They really haven't done a very good job promoting it.
There's no advertising promoting it. It's definitely like it's too bad it's a word of mouth game because it's the best puzzle game out right now.
It is. So we'll continue to talk about how awesome it is.
Anyway.
People are bored of it. So
all right. All right.
The last thing I want to talk about was that I had mentioned just earlier before we started the podcast how I used to freelance before, some on these random distribution lists, and I get games sometimes, and I end up getting Shadowrun and Forza 2. And Forza 2 is this super complicated racing game. You think you need to really get into it, and you've got Shadowrun, which is an FPS, which has a lot of depth to it. But Forza 2 comes with like a little sheet, like the press sheet is like a little sheet that says this is Forza 2, and then Shadowrun has like a 20-page booklet outlining all the intricacies, and like, I mean, I'm already intimidated going to the game knowing that everyone is going to be better than me already because I've all been playing the beta, and then I get this 20-page booklet outlining all the like special moves and like what each of their like hit point data is. I'm just like, fuck this! I don't even want to turn the game on.
Patrick, there is another resource at your disposal. You can go on to the marketplace and purchase some instructional videos for
$150 points,
$1.25 each. Yeah, so enjoy.
I think that's EA's domain.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
EA did that for Need for Speed.
Yeah, the $60 online only game with 9 maps
and
also,
2 modes.
And 2 modes also has $1.25 videos you can download.
Really?
Yeah.
You can download the instruction manual separately as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
God.
If you want it in PDF format,
See,
you gotta download it.
this is
live.
everything that's wrong with the fucking marketplace.
Microtransactions.
Yeah. I knew it. Like they're holding back,
It's the future.
holding shit back that they would ordinarily have put in the game to begin with.
So, Milky, what have you been playing this last week? Besides Final Fantasy 11, keep that one.
I've been playing a lot of Odin Sphere.
What do you think?
I love it feels just like Princess Crown.
You're an old fan of that. So.
Yeah, I've been playing Princess Crown on PSP a lot recently too. So Odin Sphere is great.
What do you think you would have given it had you reviewed it?
Probably like an 8.5 or a 9.
That seems about right.
It's not like the gameplay is that evolved and it's not that deep. And I have a little problem with the way the navigation is handled. You know, like run around into that till the circle comes around and then
it's seamless 2D maps.
A little odd, but that's fun. I've been playing Grim Grimoire as well because of Odin Sphere.
Do you think those games look too similar, even if they are very different ones in RTS? But I think they might confuse consumers. They look similar.
I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, like if both of those games are going to only go to a very, very specific audience, so they're going to be educated. They're going to know.
See, I thought Odin Sphere had a chance to maybe break out because it's getting really good reviews, good word of mouth. There aren't that many.
Really late in the cycle.
Yeah, there aren't that many big PS2 games anymore. So maybe it has a chance to go beyond the normal Atlas hardcore.
Grim Grimoire is going to be a little bit of a tougher sell because that's an RTS. It's also very difficult to like. Even though they have made some game mechanic solutions for it, it's hard to like pick the right, to select the units that you want without
the proper Harry Potter ripoffs.
Yeah,
that's the 2D. That's the 2D game you were playing the other day.
2D RTS game. Yeah, that's kind of side-scrolling RTS. It's very, very StarCraft-like, ironically, but it's resource gathering, unit building. But I'm probably only about 25% in, so I got to see how difficult it gets. I've also been playing a lot of Pac-Man Championship Edition.
Oh, me
that
too.
other one.
That thing is super.
I downloaded it after John raved about it.
It's
awesome.
so cool. It's like the sounds are awesome. The music is fantastic.
Okay, the music is really cool. I'll give you that.
And
the aesthetics, I think they're just really, really hip and cool.
It's very retro, but in the cool way. It's not that like the typical Namco Classics Museum Collection regurgitation. This
High-res
is like
flash 2D
this is
bullshit.
Cool. The sounds look cool. It looks cool. I like the new game mechanics. How you clear certain lines and then fruits show up and try and get the high score. I think it's really cool.
John D's like all over that, dude. He's been repping that for like a week.
That game is so cool. And ironically, I've actually been playing a bunch of Tenchu Z just mostly because I had to review it. But I actually have a soft spot for like decent lame games.
Well, I know that you're also a Tenchu fan, but like for me, Tenchu is a franchise where does anybody really want it anymore? Like,
see,
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Really?
But it's like it's not the worst time killer in the world.
No, I mean,
it lacks character because of the fact that now you're a totally customized dude and you're not Ricky Maru, you're not IMA, but the controls are actually pretty nimble when you've got your customized dude and he or she is dressed up exactly how you want them from whatever you've earned or unlocked. And you're like ducking and rolling between buildings, and there's no fog because it's on a next gen system. It becomes really fun after a while. I mean, the graphics still look like an Xbox One game at best.
Right.
At best, and the AI is retarded. I mean, I'll kill somebody and just leave him lying in the middle of a path.
Yeah.
Homeboy comes up and walks right over him.
Like
no sense of alarm.
That retarded AI is a Tenchu staple. It's almost like you're
all of the bad parts of Tenchu are a Tenchu staple.
I guess my main problem is I have no problem with another mediocre Tenchu game coming out. My problem is like, why does Microsoft publish it and why do they charge $60 for it when they charge $40 for Sylphid, which is like, it's almost like an admission like, okay, we know this game isn't like a AAA game. It's like, this game should also be $40.
Sylphid looks good. I'm looking forward to that. We'll argue about that one in a couple of weeks, but
I don't dislike Sylphid. I think I'm awarding it for its price. I think like if your game is like it's not a AAA game, well, like the price should be.
So you tapped me as someone who liked Tenchu, and I did. I really enjoyed the first Tenchu because it was there was nothing better than
I tapped you as a Tenchu fan for your infamous photo wearing a Tenchu T-shirt like that.
You know what? Playing Tenchu really made me want to do though is go
play Bushido Blade. No.
I want to go play Shinobi Imashime, the Acquire.
Oh yeah.
Tenchu alike.
Like the people who made Tenchu left to go make another Tenchu.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that the one where it was the chick with the garrote wire?
No, that's Red Ninja.
Yeah.
And that one turned out disastrously too.
Not so good.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about Tenchu that for me that gripped was that I really liked the first one. I had a lot of fun with it, especially the whole waiting up on top of a perch for someone to come by and then doing the kills, which were awesome at the time. It's just it never evolved. Still hasn't evolved beyond that. I mean, even graphically, it hasn't evolved.
Throwing the rice balls is still fun.
I really want to interview Acquire actually and ask them well, since Activision basically ripped you off and took
but then Activision sold Tenchu because they didn't want it anymore.
right after they effed it up, but they're the ones who stole it out from under Acquire's nose.
Right.
That was kind of a shady deal, and then they were probably pissed off I'm sure that's why they went off and did other games before coming back with a deservedly a Tenchu clone. But I'm curious, what their original plans were. They were the original creators. What did you actually have planned for Ricky Morrow? What did you,
Right.
How do you feel about how the series has gone? I'm sure there's got to be some caustic remarks in there.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
How come no one's evolved it? There has to be more to what you could do with ninjas than just
I think it's wide open.
same old
it's
thing
wide
over
open.
again.
Someone else should come and do it.
Well, the good thing about the Tenchu series or Shinobi-Do is that they are still stealth based. As much as we all love Ninja Gaiden, it is not based in stealth 1%. Right.
It's based in hitting people in the face.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. It's like full on frontal assault. It's just confrontational to the nth degree. But what about you, Shane?
I was going to go last because I have the Namco games to talk about. So why don't you go next?
All right, I'll go next. So I'll go back to the Forza for a second because I just can't draw myself away from that shit, dude.
Really?
Did your buddies give you some more fat rides?
Dude, I have more. It's
emblazoned with hot decals.
So I got an awesome Zelda car this week.
Nice. I saw your Mario car. That's pretty sweet.
The Mario car is fantastic. Jubei did this fantastic set of Halo 3 cars. We did each one of them in a different color scheme. And they're all on all these Murciélagos. So we did this race the other night with all these different Halo 3 Murciélagos, all of them in different colors. It was fucking awesome. It was so cool.
Sounds fap-worthy.
I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, it's so much. It's kind of grown beyond just being a game now. It's like this group thing. We have this dude we race with named Jotes who's like really, really good. And there's several of us that race with him. But it's always like the Jotes room. Motherfucker sits there chomping on his fucking Tostitos like king of the world.
God, now I want Tostitos.
And the shit of it is he's always the fastest dude in the room. So it's not like it's funny because he's so good. I don't get super frustrated with not winning. It's like I just want to keep on getting better and better to where I can hang with racing behind him. And anyway, we have a good time with it. The other night we actually started hitting some netcode problems. So I'm a little worried. they're having trouble maybe with like server load or something.
But it's not like Shadowrun where people are waiting several minutes for a game to start. That doesn't happen.
No. And, just an early preview. Forza sold a whole lot better than Shadowrun.
Yeah,
this
it did.
month.
It did.
Yeah, the problem with Forza 2 is not waiting for a game or whatever. It's that if someone comes into your game and they have a bad connection, it adversely affects everybody in the game really badly.
That's kind of normal though.
But it is really normal. It just kind of sucks. I mean, yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Purge? We're looking at you, brother. Stop bouncing all over. We were playing with this dude named Purge, and his connection was crapping out last night, and his car would be like flying 30 feet off the ground, spinning around in circles over the course, and then all of a sudden it would materialize back on the course in front of you, and you wreck.
Wow.
We're like, wow, that's pretty
So
clever.
you said you were playing a new game.
I'm playing new. So Todd had been over to 2K Sports, and he brought the new NFL, or not NFL, the not NFL
Right, All-Star
All-Star
All right,
football.
so I was watching some people play it, and I know Todd's he's a big fan, but like,
Right.
and I have to wonder if EA has just like ruined my concept of what people are supposed to look like in sports games. But I really think that the people in that game look way too small and too skinny. He pointed out, that's Refrigerator Perry. I'm like, Refrigerator Perry didn't weigh 175 pounds. Like, seriously. The people, like, Matt...
He's like, bring him some more food because he ain't eating enough.
I know Matt has exaggerated physiques, but I almost feel like these are like the opposite. It's like everyone's so skinny. It looks weird.
So it has the 2K look. I mean...
Well, if that look is like a high-res last generation game, yeah, I guess it does.
High-res character models and a kind of a weird...
Shane's bitter.
The fields don't look quite as...
Dude,
they're just kind of weird.
I wish this game the best, but I think it's doomed.
I don't think it's doomed.
I think it's doomed.
I agreed with you that I thought it was doomed until I played it, and then I played it, and you know what? It has a really good hook. So the hook is this, which really works with the whole like Hall of Fame thing.
The hook is, hope you don't like the NFL.
No, not at all. Hope you love the NFL. Actually, it works just the opposite. Hope you're like a hardcore NFL fan because you start off and you have to pick your team. And your team, you get two... They've taken all of these Hall of Fame players and divided them up into tiers. You have gold, silver, and bronze. And you build your team with 2 golds, 3 silvers, and 5 bronzes. So now you're actually managing your team. You have to pick, okay...
And these are people from different eras. And
any era you want. So the team I put together had like Troy Aikman as my gold quarterback and Walter Payton as my gold halfback. And then I took Drew Pearson as a wide receiver at silver level. I took a shutdown cornerback and a middle linebacker in silver, and then in bronze I took like a center, another cornerback. So you're like building, you have to think like a GM and think, okay, where do I want to invest my key players? The other guys that are going to play on your team are like, they're not scrubs, but they're just like mid-level players. So you're deciding what kind of team you want to build to go out and play the kind of game you want to play.
How many legends can you put on your team?
what is that? 5 and 3, 10 legends.
Okay. So
Two golds, 3 silvers, 5 bronzes.
How do they handle the team naming?
The team naming is it has a bunch of names you can choose from, like assassins and patriots and eagles, and you can set them inside towns. And obviously,
but you can't go in and program. You can't make this a real NFL. You can't put the real names in. You can't put the real jerseys in. You can't do any of that. Like,
it's not going to matter. Let me tell you.
So the game has to sell on its mechanics?
No. Well, okay, first of all, if you liked... There's a big division among football players. There's people who like the 2K, the way the 2K plays, or people who like the way the Madden plays. I mean, there are some big differences. In this game...
I like the way the 2K plays.
I like the way the 2K plays, too. You're not going to get away with, like, the Madden squirrely running around bullshit. Like, Todd and I are playing, and Todd's trying to do that whole drop the quarterback and run him around like a chicken back there, and he can't throw... He's, like, throwing interceptions to me and all that kind of shit. I'm like, dude, you have to stop in 2K and set your feet and throw the ball right. And I'm dropping back and setting my feet and like, throwing these touchdown bombs to Drew Pearson. It's like, yeah, goodbye, see ya.
I mean, I applaud what they're doing, but ultimately I think this is a game that's going to sell only to people who would ever buy 2 football games and maybe 3 football games, because it comes out the same time as NCAA, which is a huge seller.
Yeah, that's going to be a big challenge.
Like, if NCAA,
they're doing that on purpose, by the way. You know they're doing that on purpose.
They're trying to snipe, but if NCAA looks or plays better than this game, which is possible, it
will look better.
Then I think they're screwed. Like, the last time Sega or 2K released a game, it was $20, and they had a lot of success with that because, you know, at that point, if you're a Madden fan, you know, I'll spend $20 more and buy another game.
Right.
This is $60 for an unlicensed game.
You hate games that cost $60. Don't even argue sports games with Shane because I
used to buy Madden games. All right.
Yeah.
The last Madden I bought was Madden 93 for
Yeah.
Dude, you can put together the Joe Montana, Barry Sanders backfield. Come on.
That's something.
I
wish him the best. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
It's a great idea. It just seems really niche.
It's fun.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't get is the weird stadiums. Like, the stadium we were playing in, when I score a touchdown, like the first time I scored a touchdown, I'm like, what the hell is going on? There's like Mount Rushmore in the background.
I think that's actually cool. I saw one with like a pirate ship or something.
So it doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, like, at least they're doing something.
I like the fact that they are trying this, though, because, you know, I hate Monopoly.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed is that although you were taking down their graphics, and I will say this, I think that people are going to look at visually the EA games and say, wow, I think these look better.
Yeah,
because
I think it's a little behind the curve. It's not embarrassing or anything.
The 2K look is that weird, like, super crisp, like, very outlined high-def look. This part they do get right, though. The way the guys move on the field really, like, there's something about the way the momentum when they cut, it just really looks right. Like we're watching the wide receivers go through their routes, and when they shift weight and make like a juke move or something, it really, I don't know.
The animation's really good.
They sell it really well.
Cool.
The animation's good in Madden 2. There's just something more about how they're selling it in the game that really works. I don't know.
Right. Well,
just something there.
I'm glad you're hopeful. I'm too.
I'm way more dude. I was telling you.
I would like to see them do well.
Yeah.
I just don't think.
I think the best thing.
I would tell you from playing it with Todd the other night that I would go buy this game.
Oh, all right. Well,
I would go buy this
over Madden or with Madden.
With Madden because they're different games.
Well, I think they can.
Hopefully, they do well enough this year to get people to buy it with men, and then next year maybe people will
establish a foothold.
The big drawback for this is that it doesn't have 2K's signature thing that was an up on Madden, which was the online leagues. And I can't believe they left that out. I mean, does
Madden have that this year?
Well, they've never had 2K always had this great integrated web feature where you could set up leagues and everything would be managed through an online interface. You could go to the websites and you'd have like your own team. You'd have like your own division website. You could see everybody who was playing. You could see the teams, the matchups, all that kind of stuff. They didn't include that. I'm not. Todd didn't tell me why they didn't include that.
Every team's going to be completely different anyway. You may be like the New Jersey Assassins, but you know you're going to have like a completely different roster than.
Maybe that's why that makes sense. Maybe that's why they did it
next year.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Hopefully. All right, Namco, man.
Okay, before we get to the Namco pre-E3 Gamers Day, I've been playing for fun Planet Puzzle League, of course.
Nice.
Still playing Calling All Cars. I love it. And
I think so. John got Planet Puzzle League too.
All right.
So we need to do. We need to do the big 4-player match.
Well, and then Warhawk, which I played with Crispin a bunch over the weekend. We had a great time. Like, you should get on there.
There was a patch, right? Did it change
anything? There was
anything?
a patch last Friday. Yeah, it crashes less now. It still crashes sometimes.
Crashing less is good.
I'm still enjoying all of those. I also played some Bomberman, Xbox Live Arcade. Good times.
Any difference from last week? Do we find out if we can go on the outside?
You can.
You can? So you can throw it from the outside?
You can. You have to turn it on. There's a lot of options, actually. A lot of the things you expect from the game, you actually have to turn on.
But they're there.
They are there.
So you can make custom matches online that you...
but like some of the things like aren't there that you would want. But
like what?
Like Like dinosaurs, you wanted those. Those aren't there.
The dinosaurs is picky.
Or just like
it's
really small things, like the skull, how you'd pick it up and be a random malady. That doesn't exist.
Are you a
anymore.
Bomberman guy?
I like Bomberman.
Yeah.
See, I'm
He's
completely ignorant.
He's never played.
I'm completely
Bomberman.
ignorant.
You have
to
to.
Bomberman.
Dinosaurs are dudes you can ride around on.
Yeah. But regardless, okay, if you've never played Bomberman, this is a great place to start.
This is a nice balance between the new stuff, Saturn, Bomberman.
From them describing it, is it anything like Choo Choo?
better.
Choo Choo Rocket?
Oh,
Simpler.
better? I don't know.
Nah.
I hold Choo Choo
You know what?
Rocket on an
I actually
enormous
played
pedestal.
Choo Choo Rocket the other day, and that game is definitely fun, but it's really hard to compare that to Bomberman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just because you're on a grid does not
Yeah.
mean it's even remotely the same.
That was what I was wondering, because I would fully,
No, I wouldn't
I would
compare it.
fully play Choo Choo Rocket if they put that on the Xbox Live.
That would. I don't
well,
want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sega.
Anyway.
Yeah, the other game, Omega 5, it's a new Xbox Live shooter. It's developed by Natsume. It's being put out by Hudson. It's an original 2D, it's 3D graphics, 2D scrolling.
Developed by Natsume, does that mean like they're
Over-
flying cows that you blow out of the air?
Yeah, it's kind of like, imagine a shooter from Japan from 1993 suddenly with 3D graphics.
Overhead or side scroll?
Side scrolling.
Okay.
I just played a little bit. It seems promising. I'm a big shooter.
Is it better than the free one that came out a couple of weeks ago?
It's definitely better
Okay.
than the free one that came out. I need to play more to find for sure, but I think it's cool that they're making an original Japanese side-scrolling shooter for Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In addition to that, I'm playing Persona 3, which I've been looking forward
Dude,
to.
you were hyped for that.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Did you get a girlfriend?
Not yet. But
Funny how that mirrors real life.
funny, isn't it?
Dude, it's not even necessary. Anyway.
Yeah, but as an old school Persona fan, I'm very excited to be digging into this, and I'm really liking it so far. So I'll keep you posted on that one. This week we got to see a new demo of Black Site Area 51, which Midway's upcoming sequel to Area 51.
Did you get to see the Iraqi part of
We
it?
did. We got to see a level in Iraq.
The fuck?
We got to see three.
What's the Iraqi part?
There's a flashback that's set in Iraq, and then the Iraq part's actually pretty cool. I was surprised. It's evocative. There's like,
I thought you said the Rocky part. I was
No.
like, Sylvester Stallone hops on screen.
yeah, and they don't fuck around. They actually say this is Iraq. They don't like mince,
And then they're like setting it like in the war going on right now. We were talking about last week about somebody doing modern political situations.
so-
At least that's something.
Yeah, and I think the game looks pretty. I think the game looks pretty
Shrug.
good, but they have a big,
Hold on, I'm about to blow up this 50-foot alien. Let me have a quick flashback to Iraq. Oh, serious situation now.
Well, it's looking good, and there's another demo coming. They told us there's another demo coming both for Xbox and PS.
Did you play the first Area
PS3.
51?
It was too briefly. I never really played through it.
Yeah.
The
Wait a minute,
light gun shooter
which-
or the first person shooter?
The first person,
PS
the one that
PS2
this is a follow-up to. The one that had
Yeah.
like
The one with David
Duchovny.
Duchovny
Right,
did voice
yeah.
acting for.
I played that.
It was all right.
And
It was all right.
so why are people like suddenly like, so it's like this game has out of nowhere picked up this vibe of, oh, this shit's going to be good.
It's next gen
Well,
Zors.
when you see it, the graphics are pretty good, and it's definitely a solid. It's a decent game. It's on the upper tier of it's for
Remember
game.
that first person shooter Midway put out in the arcades?
Yes, the Grid.
Yeah.
The one that was supposed to be sort of an online sort of game.
It's like LAN. It's like networked.
Yeah, I saw one of those still working a couple of months
this
ago.
isn't that.
So this is a case of your expectations were so low.
No. In this game, I mean, people liked Area 51. It was a good game. It sold well, and
It's looked good since the beginning.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like a good game.
I think this is a solid game. However, it's coming out the same week as Halo 3.
And did you read about? They're happy they're doing it because they
Right.
think they're going to piggyback sales off of Halo.
And we were
3.
telling them, we're like, no. Like, either you get out before, you get out after. You don't get out.
This
the
was
same
the
time.
example. What was the example? Like something about it was a quote saying, people went to go see Spider-Man
and
3
Pirates.
and Pirates. They hyped him up for both. It didn't. It was a
Right. Yeah,
terrible
a
analogy.
movie isn't $60.
Dude, that can't be for real. that really can't be for
That's
real.
like the case of a marketing manager or product manager, like who does not deserve his paycheck.
If Midway knows what's good for them, they'll either get this out before or after Halo, not at the same time.
Oh my God,
I mean,
yeah.
it's coming out for
People are going to ignore it. It's unfortunate.
it's coming
It'll
out
probably be a solid game. It won't be Halo 3. It'll be a solid squad shooter, which Halo 3 isn't.
Well, but it's coming out. Well, the squad stuff is actually very light. It's much lighter than you get in a Graw or Rainbow Six. But I think it has a chance on PS3, but not on 360.
People who want Halo, they're
competition.
gonna walk. They're gonna have blinders on. They're gonna walk right into EB or wherever the hell. They're gonna be like, Halo 3, gimme.
And after
they're gonna walk right out.
After they spend their $130 for their cat helmet and stuff,
Right.
They're not going to be like, you know what? I have another $60. I'm going to buy that other alien shooter first-person shooter game. No,
it's got a rack in it.
not going to happen. All right. I got to play PGR4. Can't really talk about it.
How many fucking games are you playing?
I do a lot of work, Milky.
Really?
You'd be surprised what happens when you come to work.
Yeah, you have all this time since you work in print to sit around on your
Yeah, we
dick.
just sit on our ass.
Yeah.
That's on my dick. That would hurt. But I can't really talk about PGR4. But maybe soon I can. I got to figure out when I can talk about it. But I got to play PGR4.
The fuck is that? that is so fucking shame.
All right, so let's move on to Namco. So Namco Bandai had their big pre-E3 event, and
all right, let me cut to the chase for me. Ace Combat.
It looks good.
Yeah,
yeah.
But is there anything? I mean, is it still just
they
3,
announced
4,
the big
5?
They announced the big joystick, which has a throttle and it's very cool and
Looks
like
very
What does
awesome.
it cost?
They haven't said. I'd imagine 60 or 70 for that joystick. We'll see. But the game.
I'm guessing more.
I mean,
I'm guessing more. I'm guessing that's gonna
That
be like
racing wheel's 129.
yeah.
You see the new
dude, it's
gun
gonna be
con?
$1.50.
Huh?
New gun con?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a
God.
minute. So Ace
The
Combat.
Wiimote?
So you asked about Ace Combat. It looks really good. I mean, part of the problem is Ace Combat's always looked really good. Like
Yep.
4 and 5 both looked really amazing for PS2 games. So you see this and like it does look really awesome. It's the best looking flight game on 360. But at the same time, like it always looked really good.
More planes.
It's more planes. The lighting's really good. But yeah, there are parts of it where you wish a little more detail in the city. I think they could have gone a little further with that, but it definitely looks awesome. It has the crazy CG cutscenes with overly dramatic characters and this crazy story. Yeah, it's everything you want. It looks really good.
Is there online dogfighting?
Yeah, I mean,
All right, nice.
if you're an Ace Combat fan, it's everything you want.
So what's the hook this time? I mean, like last time the hook
you
was
need to be able to customize your planes.
There's no specific hook besides just like better graphics.
Really? Because
that would be
stuff-
so awesome. Imagine if like they had like squadrons and like we're all like the Red Barons or whatever, and we had this badass insignia that we came up and all of our planes were
that would be cool.
right dogfights.
Yeah,
That would actually be really cool.
because it's a Japanese game, I don't think the online integration will be as
Just sort of basic
Yeah, it's
16 fighters.
Yeah, I mean, have you played Ridge Racer 6 and 7? Like, yeah, something kind of like that. But it definitely looks really good, and it comes out this fall, so that's one. Beautiful Katamari, which is now being rumored to be only 360, and I think that may be true, is only being shown for 360.
I really doubt it's only 360. I bet it's for the fall, and I'm sure we're going to see.
Well, but I gotta say, after
versions.
playing it,
it's okay that it's only on
after
360.
playing it, they can have it. Right? Actually, anybody can have it.
But that one's not being done by what's his face.
No, it's not being done by the original creator.
And he didn't do the PSP
I
one
gotta
either.
say, like my first question, seeing and playing this game was, what is the price point? And they couldn't answer that. But the original Katamari was $19.99.
Yeah.
We Love Katamari was
That was a
$29.99. And this game,
is probably going to be 40 if we're going by the retail.
if it's
listings.
$39, if it's $49, if it's $59, it is not worth any of this amount of money. It is.
Maybe they're gonna charge $60 for it because like all the games that you're pissed off at today are $60.
I know. Like if this game,
Dude, you hate
40
60.
bucks, I'll take anything for
really,
40 bucks.
after playing this game, I hate to say it. I mean, I like Katamari. I think it's a fun, cool, quirky game. This game should be like 1,600 points on the Xbox Live Marketplace.
Just because it's more of the same?
It's ultimately more of the same.
and if Tenchu Z can bust 60, you know this shit's going 60.
The problem with it is they made the decision to keep the graphical style intact. And what that means is very simplistic objects. You're rolling around things that look the same. Yeah, they're in higher resolution, but it really looks exactly like the first game in high res. And that is not acceptable. I mean, like,
But Shane, wait, it has widescreen support.
doesn't matter. It also has online. It doesn't matter. Like this game should look better. I mean, you can defend the amazing artistic aesthetics of Katamari and this amazing world they created. Not really.
You know
Like,
what? Shane's turning into Mark McDonald before my
No,
very
I'm
eyes. He's gone from Pokemon fan to like SOCOM head. You
He
know,
was like this.
It's like. He's like,
Hands up.
You need to have bump mapping, volumetric fog.
No, but
Where's the
you need blue
16
lighting.
AA?
No, but like Milky,
Yeah.
like Lovely here. It's a game where you roll shit into a ball. Okay,
Right.
Wouldn't it look better if that shit looked real? Yeah, it would. Okay, it
So
really,
you want to see
really
a
would.
hardcore, realistic Katamari?
I want to see something where there's graphics happening that couldn't
The
have,
shit that's in
couldn't
like,
have been done on my PS2.
Is the prince all of a sudden supposed to look like a young Jason Bateman in a green
Milky, the
green
world-
tights?
If you want to keep it fanciful and weird, okay, the world could be doing crazy things, like giant things could be happening. I don't know.
But doesn't the game scale out to like the whole world?
It's bigger, but it still looks the same. Everything looks the same. It looks the same. And it plays the same. Like, the reason I hope this is on 360 is I hope the PS3 and Wii Katamaris at least use some sort of motion control, because if any game should use tilt motion control, this is the game.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. That is for
That seems
sure.
a really good fit for PS3.
Like I'm like a mediocre Katamari fan. Like the most hardcore Katamari fans I've ever met at this event were disappointed. Everyone was putting down the controller, being like, "This game is disappointing." All right. So
Well,
there
I
you
think
go.
I think the problem there is just that it's not the original director and
Right.
designer. You
Well,
know?
and
they're just-
so basically they're just towing the line.
And I gotta say also, Namco Bandai, they're writing our reviews for us by naming this game Beautiful Katamari and giving it shitty graphics. So It's not beautiful. It's in fact shitty looking. Ouch. So all right, next Xbox 360 Concept Saga. I'm a big Concept fan. I really like the original on PS2. It's Magic.
You're just hoping that they fix up all the brokenness of the Japanese
Can you
one.
explain this to me? Because I've never gotten the Concept.
It's Magic the Gathering meets Monopoly, but it's actually pretty simple. It's more like Monopoly. So
that doesn't explain anything to
You're
me.
sympathetic to the artist who croaked.
It's Magic the Gathering.
And actually, a lot of the
meets Monopoly, but more like
right.
Monopoly.
And a lot of the art in the game, it's a card game, and it is not graphically impressive at all. You're like on a board, you're laying down cards,
right.
But it's really fun. It's really well balanced. It has online play, and in Japan, it came out last December, and it shipped with 66 game crashing bugs apparently, and those are all being addressed.
Yeah.
So
If
if you're a fan,
why is this a retail game?
I hope it's $39. Once again, they wouldn't talk about the price point.
Who's publishing?
Namco Bandai. If it's 60,
seems like a perfect fit, like Catan.
If it's $60 again, too high. This is another game that should be $39. Hopefully, it will be.
Well, see, the thing is, like, is this one of those games that's like the day it comes out, you've got to have it? Because the way retail works these days, if you have a little patience, you wait and like it's discounted after like
2 months later. It's
not even that long, man. It's like the prices drop so fast on these things. Yeah. That's why
the problem
so
is
many.
It's such a niche title that like they're not going to rope people in right away. But if it was like $40 or even like $30, $20, maybe you will get a lot of impulse buys, and like it really is a fun game. So hopefully,
did you just say we're going to get impulse buy on Concept Saga?
If it's $20,
if it was $20, if I had a glowing recommendation, I'd give it a shot.
Right.
What's
yeah, no,
dude, $20.
I'm Billy Bob Trucker in Walmart. What the fuck is this?
It's like Monopoly.
Shit. Fuck this shit. Yeah, they're going to need your
like
box
Magic
quote. Shane B says,
but it's
like
more
Monopoly.
Like
Don't be scared.
Exactly.
Don't be scared, Trucker.
When's the last time you played fucking Monopoly?
All right, we got a lot of games to go through. Next up for Xbox 360, Eternal Sonata, which I've famously been,
Dreamcast game.
Yeah, I've been crucified for calling it a Dreamcast game. And then later saying it looks like an Xbox One game. I still think it looks like a really good Xbox One game.
I'm stoked for it. I like RPGs
I'm stoked
with
for
a
it too.
twist.
And we actually got an English build this week, so I'm going to start playing it pretty soon here. I hear it's good, so I'm looking forward to that.
And you love the piano.
Chopin.
Who doesn't love the music of Chopin?
Did they take that out of the U.S. version?
That's still in. But Milky, as a big hater of Tri Crescendo's previous game, Baten Kaito's Origins, which you gave a 4.5, you're still looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Oh, okay. So I really liked Baten Kaito's Origins. Thought it was
the jury is still out. I mean, but I'm mildly curious.
I am too. We have it. So, all right. Moving on to other consoles. For Wii, we had Space Station Tycoon, which is this bizarre little like world building tactical game made by the guys who made Outpost Kaloki X.
Which is like the same game, right? It's an extension of that, right?
It is, but it's kind of more fanciful and cutesy. Uses the Wii mode. I played a little bit.
And the Xbox Live one was an arcade release, which cost, I'm pretty sure, $5.
Yeah,
so
I gotta say, this one there were some loading issues, there were some slowdown issues. If you're into like the theme park kind of game, it might be cool.
Dude, that's good news for the Wii that we can now handle Xbox downloadable content games.
I just yawned quietly.
But it's definitely, there's nothing else like it on Wii. It's coming out during the summer. I'll get more hands-on soon. But right now, if you're into that kind of thing, this looks like it'd be maybe for you.
All right.
Also, Namco Museum Remix, which I was pretty excited about. But then, like, the two games they had playable.
Because you like playing Dick Dug for the 17th time?
This is the Wii one. This is the Wii one where they've remade 5 of the games.
And they're all using the Wii mode
controls. The two they had on display were Galaga and Rally. I mean, what's it called?
Because those games were really intended to be played that way.
Well, Galaga is nigh unrecognizable. You're Pac-Man. You're like on rails.
Isn't the theme like Pac-Man's in every single one of these games?
Right, he's in all the games.
That's called branding.
But yeah, they
called gay.
Galaga basically Pac-Man. He's just like on a little like.
Garnet dropped the G-bomb.
Yeah, he did. Pac-Man's on a rail, and you're pointing the Wii.
Edit.
You're pointing the Wiimote
ridiculous
at Galaga monsters and shooting them. It's pretty basic.
That's right.
And
this is this game was basically designed by their marketing department.
Yeah, and then the Rally X, you're Pac-Man and you're dodging pools of urine.
That's fantastic.
They're gonna yell at me.
Move on.
Next.
Yeah, not
next.
so good. I would say so far not so good. Okay, up next. What do we got left here?
Are we more than halfway down this list?
We're almost done. We're almost
about
done.
to kick your list's ass.
They showed a brief trailer of Afro Samurai.
Next.
Okay, and next?
Hard to tell. Looks promising.
Next.
Next company.
And finally, I promised I would mention Digimon Data Squad for the PS2.
How much you get paid for this shit? How much
Did
you
you
get
get dinner
paid
out of this or something?
No, I got lured.
Is that where that bottle of liquor came from?
I got lured over to the Digimon Data Squad, and I got to say, I was slightly impressed. It's a full-featured, cel-shaded RPG for PS2 that is surprisingly decent. And like, so if any
whatever.
if any 8 to 12-year-old boys are listening to this podcast,
Here's Shane's phone number. Oh wait, wrong show.
that's so wrong.
All right, are we done?
We are fully
Can
done.
we be
Shane
done?
needs his own podcast.
Isn't this podcast
Sorry.
over?
Sorry for playing lots of games and bringing you news. I'm sorry.
You did well. You did well. And I see you repping the Yankees, so we'll just go ahead and give you your props because your little Yankees did all right this past
Don't
weekend.
be fucking with the Yankees.
Nine wins straight.
Nine
Yeah.
wins straight.
9 wins straight. We're on our way back.
We were dogging him early in the season when the Yankees were a little like
They just had to find their groove, dude.
they found their groove. They found their
They're being
groove.
patient at the plate.
Yep.
The pitchers are showing
So
resilience.
now people are saying the Mariners are going to win it all.
I don't know.
That's
Anyway,
the new rumor.
We've
I
definitely
know.
found our groove.
Got to get past the Sox first.
We're in the zone. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to do message boards and
You're
game
from fucking
compulsions.
Kentucky. Why do you like the Yankees?
We don't have a baseball team. I can pick anybody I want.
All right.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Practice up. The 2007 Midnight Gaming Championship Tournament may be coming to a city near you. Check midnightgamingchampionship.com for details. Game on.
All right, we're back and ready to get into the message boards. John, I hope I can do this proper for you. First of all, I'm going to do a little update. Jen, Frank, the community manager, and I were talking today. We've been going through that big board reorganization.
It's a growing process.
It's a growing process, and I got to tell you, the threads, I don't know if you've been reading it, but the threads are getting really good. There's some definite good
They're
content there.
better, they're longer,
if you
they're
recall,
more meaningful.
I complained last week about how shitty the thread for the 2 weeks ago show was. Last week's thread, much, much better.
Oh, it was like 10 pages. It's still coming up.
I posted it. I posted
yesterday.
it several times.
So we're making some adjustments. We're coming up with some plans of like how we want to moderate the board. We also kicked in a little measure today that I don't want anyone to be like put off by, but we have now instituted a deal where when you come onto the boards and register for the first time, you're going to have to get 30 posts like in other threads under your belt before you can create your own
great
threads.
idea.
That's normal.
Yeah, it's a pretty normal
good.
thing for consolidated board. We're
And in
just
fact, 30 posts is really low compared to a lot of the larger boards out
I'm not
there.
saying we're going to stick to 30. We're starting off with 30, so
See how it goes.
we're going to go from there. And there's a lot of people are jumping in, like trying to support. Like Thomas Ella, like put up this, he put up this post called "A Guide to Crafting Better Posts." And
That's helpful.
It's a little bit like he goes into real great
Was
depth.
it even more harsh than that? Like why your threads are getting locked?
Well, there was another one like that. Yeah. So I skipped that one. Anyway,
okay.
The bottom line is this. It's cool that you guys are trying to help out, but like, don't worry about the mods being there. The mods are being there. You don't have to go in and be worried about having to play policeman. There's been some threads that have gotten really bickery between people who wanted, oh, you shouldn't have this kind of thread. Just, dude, live and let live. Have a good time. Anyway, if you want to have some input, go to Thomas Ella's A Guide for Crafting Better Posts. Like I said, he's got really good intentions, and that would be a great place for anyone who wants to contribute to like how the board's evolving to get involved. All right, so other good threads. Hypernova put up a thread that he had done also in the Games for Window boards back before the change called Your Ideal MMO. I thought it would be kind of interesting thing to talk about. Interestingly enough, and I kind of agree with Destiny Smasher, who said at the end of this, he said, I can't think of an MMO idea that really bangs as fresh and original. And that's really the deal, is most of the posts we're talking about how, we need to break from the fantasy mold, or we need to break from grinding and items, but no one had anything new. So
It's easy for people to bitch, but harder for them to come up with solutions. That's
Right.
the problem.
I mean,
For real.
look at you. You stuck it with Final Fantasy 11 for.
Oh, I've given that team a lot of solutions.
I mean, that's true. It is hard. Like, what kind of meaningful interaction can you have in an MMO besides fighting, getting stuff, or talking? Like,
eating experience.
Stuff.
Like you need a mechanic that keeps you there for
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So
And how do you get around there without grinding, which slows down and then turns off a lot?
I'm
of
sure
people?
there are ways, but they're like things that we are just not even considering at the
Yeah.
moment because we're so locked into this template.
I think a really ambitious MMO where there are very different types of gameplay experience offered. Like if you want to do a racing game in there, or a RPG, or a fighting game, like those kind of things.
Well,
if that
Second
can
Life
ever
is also
exist.
like a kind of an extreme
does
example.
that count?
I don't know, but you're kind of role playing. You're kind of
But
online.
why, yeah, I
it's
mean,
kind of
why doesn't
massive.
it count? Just because it doesn't
Yeah.
have like
I'm just-
the
I was
standard
just throwing it
fighting,
out there.
leveling
Well,
up.
It definitely blurs the lines for sure.
Anyway, so I think that'd be a good thread if anyone has an idea, because right now everybody's just saying do something different, but no one has like a new idea.
I think they should make an MMO with like where you can create your own Patrick Klepek.
How about
like
You can pick how large the hair is.
Right?
How about
Fro size.
That's a game in itself.
How about
That's
a
game
massively
mechanic.
multiplayer dating game?
See, like
That's called Match. It's called Match.com.
Anyway, the King,
called Life.
we've been all been playing our DSs. The King threw a thread up that was, what game would you like to see on the DS? A couple of good suggestions. I don't know what you guys would have, but Ninja Crossing threw out there a remake of Star Tropics in 3D.
Eh.
In 3D on the DS?
I'm saying Snatcher and Police Knots double pack. That's what I'm saying.
Another suggestion was from Retro Takami to do Maniac Mansion, but with more different...
See, that's what I would say. Why is it that everyone has to port the games to PSP and DS? Why the hell isn't LucasArts doing it?
As much as we don't want ports, I'm saying Scum Collector's Edition.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I would pay $60 for that.
Yeah, so would I.
What would you do on DS, Milk?
You know, I haven't really thought about it, but to pull one out of my hat, I'd probably pull something like a Panzer Dragoon.
That's pretty
You
cool.
know,
Same, like a shooter?
You know, they might
Yeah.
be able to do Panzer Dragoon 1 decent-ish.
You know what struck me as something I'd like to see is some sort of adaptation of a game along the lines of like Okami. Because with the stylus, great adaptation of the stylus, I think that would be really cool. So Xbox 360 Masters started this thread, and this was like the one that really got me into the whole like board change, because I almost didn't talk about this thread because it got so chippy in the middle of it between people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't even post this thread." Anyway, he asked which first-person shooter was more influential to console shooters, Halo or GoldenEye. So let me give you a couple of thoughts. Random Letters and Numbers said that it was GoldenEye because every multiplayer console FPS has really taken after that. The arguments about Halo were mostly based around how important Halo had been to the Xbox, and that really wasn't where this guy was going. He was talking about which one, as far as influence to the genre, has been more important.
I think Halo made some really subtle changes that have forever changed console FPSs, but GoldenEye was way more influential.
The thing that Halo did, though, was that it brought like Half-Life style narrative to console shooters that GoldenEye didn't have. That was largely mission based.
Yeah, it did that. But the big thing that Halo did was the aim assist, like the really subtle aim assist that's going on in Halo that it really changed the entire.
Well, and it got the
genre.
control. It got the dual stick controls really, really right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say that of the Halos, and I put this in the thread, of the Halos, Halo 2 for me would be more influential because of its impact on multiplayer first-person shooters on consoles.
Right, because GoldenEye didn't have that.
Right, it had great multiplayer, and lots of people got together to play. Right, but that's way before the time.
But that was the first game to get matchmaking right.
Right.
And still, we're seeing games like Gears of War that don't get it right.
Exactly.
I think Halo 2, out of the two of them, Halo is the more influential game because there are a lot of things technology-wise that people were following that were established in Halo.
I mean, yeah, immediately
GoldenEye
after
was a great game,
Yes.
but how many GoldenEye clones were there?
A few.
Time Splitters,
There were
but that was the GoldenEye people.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark.
Yeah, but
But you immediately saw everyone after Halo came out adopt the Halo control scheme.
Right.
Like that
Right.
became the FPS control scheme
That's true.
on consoles, and
Yeah.
you saw them adopt the reticle and stuff like that. So it was those subtle things that you saw in
you're
Halo
a
1.
reticle.
You really can
Okay.
actually. You just totally can. You made a big convincing argument with the control scheme because that's a good point.
Yeah.
Control schemes completely became Halo driven
I mean,
after that.
if everyone remembers Brute Force, a terrible game.
No, don't
But-
remember it.
But it came out after Halo, and they brought on people that did the interface for Halo onto the Brute Force team to adapt it to the Halo style, because that's what worked.
That's a damn good point.
I wonder if we'll ever get Brute Force 2.
God, I hope not.
Why would we want it?
Dude, they made Fusion Frenzy too.
They made Nightcaster 2.
They did make Nightcaster
They
too.
did make Night.
Oh, yes, they
my memories that we didn't need to dredge up. All
Sorry.
right, Sawyer has a pretty. So there are a couple of threads that were going around about hardcore gaming. Sawyer took a new tack on it. He was like, games that are too hardcore for you. So in other words, games that like, you look at it and you're like, you know what, I've heard the buzz on this thing. It sounds hardcore. I don't really want to, you know what, fuck it. I don't really want to get into this. Champ 386, I think I wrote that down, said he doesn't remember a specific game that was too hard for him, but he does like not get into the whole challenge thing. And he cited a couple of deals like, like the whole Final Fantasy X deal where there were people doing these no summons, this whole long string of don't do this, don't do this, don't do this,
That
don't do this.
doesn't count. I mean, if you're like, I beat Mario without jumping. Well, that doesn't count. That's not the way the game was made. Okay, that guy's nonsense.
And then the other one, the other thing he doesn't buy into is the whole perfect file RPG playthrough thing.
Yeah, but these people, they don't understand like the plot of this thread. It's like, what game is too hardcore for you? Like, I'd say like Front Mission. Like, I bought Front Mission 3 with every intention of playing it. And then I tried. And I was like, this is beyond me.
I would even go more
Dude,
than
those
that.
games
and
are great.
Those are awesome.
I know you love
fucking
it.
love that shit.
I don't know how you call
but it's
that
definitely
too hard.
hardcore and detailed. And
I would go farther than that. Like I can't even. I played the shit out of Command and Conquer, Red Alert, StarCraft. But after that, I kind of dropped out of the strategies. Like I can't get back into the genre. I look at Supreme Commander. I look at C&C3, and like there's so much going on with these games.
Overwhelming.
That I just don't even touch it. I just ignore it. I go on, especially Supreme Commander. Like I look at the game, and they're talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking about like multiple vantage points, and like people setting up 3 screens. I'm like, I can't do that. Like
Whatever,
I've yet to
Katamari
find.
fan.
I love I loved Command and Conquer. I loved Red Alert. I played up to Red Alert 2, and after that, I dropped out of it. And I haven't found the game that's like wanted me to bring back in before StarCraft 2 came along. And that's a game that I'm like, I will sit down and I will learn how to play it again.
Well, you're not alone because strategy games were about the 3rd most cited ones. Actually, racing games, and maybe it's because I brought up
Are they
Forza
talking about
2.
genres or specific instances?
They talked about specific instances, but they talked about it in terms of like specific games. And racing games and fighting games came up the most, especially like Virtua Fighter came up a ton. Gran Turismo came up a ton.
Weak sauce. You can't play.
Well,
Virtua Fighter,
I'm not sure
you're weak.
fighting games are a good example because like those are inherently
meant to
no,
be
but
challenging.
fighting used to
that
be.
you have Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
like,
but fighting used to be more mainstream. It definitely has become more niche in the last 10 years.
because of the detail in it. So this kind of goes into like the bigger topic, which was the one that I posted about games that you get compulsions on. And I think this is like the big dividing line. If you're into those games, you get really caught up in them.
Obsessed.
You do get really obsessed. And look, I mean, I've been talking about Forza now for 3 weeks, and I will tell you that sitting here right now, I'm already thinking about going home, and whenever Jotes makes the room,
You
hopping
need
in.
a cold shower, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you want to talk?
Yeah.
How much 11 do you play?
Exactly. We brought Milky in here because
But I don't talk about it though.
Right, but for the last several years, at any given point, you can walk past your office and Milky is playing Final Fantasy 11.
it might be on 360. It might be on PC.
Right.
It might be on PS2.
And maybe
Or
it's
all
there.
3 at the same time.
Right.
Dude, motherfucker can rep. He can play an unbelievable number of games at the same time. Can you do
That's
3
called-
at a time?
Yeah, that's called 3 boxing.
You can 3 box. Dude, I've seen people 2 box, wow, but
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody 3
do you,
box
do you get your
before I saw you do
characters in the
3 box.
same group together?
Dude, I'm a nightmare at that game. I kick that game's ass.
But see,
Why?
like,
Why? What is it about?
Yeah.
Why haven't you become like a WoW
When I
guy?
3 box, that's not because I love it so much that I want to play it 3 times as much as anybody else. It's usually because I'm power leveling myself because I can't be bothered to deal with like random.
All right, but
random
why
people.
Final Fantasy 11? What is it about that game
That game
you haven't evolved
over the
from?
years has evolved and finessed, and it seriously, out of all the MMOs that I've played, and I've played
Pretty much all of
good
them.
percentage of them, is definitely the deepest. You know, it still looks good today. I mean, it doesn't look like Gears of War or anything, but it still looks good. The people that I've played with for the last 4 or 5 years, you know, they are now. You know, you can count on them. It's like, you know, when
Right.
you're in
Okay,
the trenches and you're in
like,
the foxhole,
so
you want to be around
I guess
veterans.
my question is, what percentage of your obsession with that game is based upon like the time you've put in, the friends you've made, like just like the investment you've made
versus like
versus the
gameplay.
game itself?
Well, I don't know. It's like it's hard to really detach myself from it. It's like a PSO thing.
Right.
You were very into PSO. It's
Exactly.
the same thing. It's like the gameplay was not 100% perfect.
But the experience,
But the experience,
the overall experience,
the loot that you get,
Yeah.
the people that you're with, you know, it's all equal parts.
As your investment like gets bigger and like the longer you play these games, the more friends you make, the more shit you get. It's harder and harder to get away from it because you spent so much time. Like the idea of like you quitting cold turkey on FF11, like that's never going to happen.
I have definitely scaled back though. You know, it's like I used to play every night, but I have definitely scaled back where it's like a couple times a week or something. You know, my account is going to be good forever, so there's no real need for me to quit.
But what if the servers go down? I mean, this happened with like Asheron's Call.
If the server goes down, I'm seriously not gonna care ultimately.
so it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't like.
I'm not gonna
like be on suicide.
I'm not gonna be on suicide watch.
watch.
Like, how's Milky doing? Is he okay? He's looking kind of glum. Is he? Has he been giving away all his shit? That's a sign. You know, it's not gonna happen.
So you
They turned off
I guess
servers last
ultimately,
night.
do you have any regrets for the time you spent on 11?
Oh, I could have been doing other things that were, you know, could have
And
propelled my
what
personal fortune into the
and
millions.
do you
but-
know your total playtime?
Oh yeah, they actually have a a button that you can press to actually check your total.
But do you know it across
that doesn't
all platforms?
Well, I have multiple characters.
You have like 99.99. It's maxed out.
Well, some characters have like 187 days of logged playtime, which means times 24 because those. But you have to understand that, like, half the times when you walk by my office and you see FF11 up, it's just like aim with graphics.
It's just
right.
Yeah,
you're just on your link shell.
Just keeping tabs on my dudes and saying like, oh, are we doing anything tonight? Blah 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 blah. Planning purposes, but I'm not actually concentrating.
So you
on
say like maybe
thing.
like a quarter of that time is what you actually spent playing?
Probably, and a lot of times I'll leave my character logged in overnight because you have a personal bazaar and you can sell stuff just by leaving him there, and like people.
And if you log off, you don't get those sales.
Before we get too far into the community part, like so, Sket, one of our listeners, has a post up where he talked about Phantasy Star Online, but he also talked about Oblivion, which is completely offline. So he's not into this stuff he's not into the RPGs for the community part. And there was a lot of people who talked about the RPGs from the standpoint where he just his, for the longest time he was hooked on this because it was about getting to the next level, finding the more powerful weapon, and in Oblivion's case, finding when the next store owner went to sleep so I could break in and steal everything. That's
a great example of a game that I would like to play if it just had more of an Eastern milieu, because I don't like Oblivion's like Dungeons and Dragons kind of style.
Right.
But that's an offline game that plays like an MMO. It's deep. There are contextual based quests. There are things that only happen at certain times. There's like immeasurable depth in that game. Same thing with FF12. The reason why I like FF12 so much is because it's very much like FF11.
Yeah.
If they can make more games like that are almost infinitely replayable offline, like I would really almost have no need for an online MMO.
But you played the hell out of Diablo 2 also, right?
Yeah.
And were you into it just for the online part?
Well, I played online mostly because of the fact that, in the event that I had to play with somebody else, I would, because you can't bring your offline character online.
Right.
So you don't want to, like, eventually wake up one day and say, oh, I want to go online, and then have to start from level 1.
Yeah, but you could create a locked server and just play by yourself online.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but, I just like to leave my options open. But Diablo 2, I mostly played online solo. I would, set a password. So
right, so that's what I mean. That's what I meant.
Oh,
what's the advantage of doing that? Why? I mean, just in case you wanted to play with somebody,
exactly.
you could?
Right.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, but I kept playing online because, I just want to keep running through the same dungeons and trying to get better drops.
See, that's what I wanted to get to is like Diablo 2, even though I played mostly an online character, like there were a couple of people I played with, and other than that, I was mainly playing to get like the next piece of armor, the next bow, see what the next good drop was, and I was totally drop motivated.
That's basically what all MMO games are centered around, and I think the more that games with online elements implement those kinds of things, like, if you're playing Shadowrun, I haven't played any Shadowrun, but if you're able to get things that
you aren't.
No.
All right. Well, a game like Shadowrun.
Nope, Shadowrun.
It's a lot like Counter-Strike would be its closest comparison.
Huxley, for example. When Huxley comes out, you'll constantly be getting better and better loot, and that will be reflected in your character model. And their character designs are fucking amazing.
That's one of the things that like 2 Human is apparently going to have too. It's going to have like the Diablo style online
4-player co-op,
getting stuff that it's on your model. Like I think
the point is to play through the game again and again.
That's why I play that shit. Anything where I can get even Diablo, it's like you're a little 2D sprite, but you like he's got some cool shit.
With
Dude, that's wow! I cannot believe how many massively multiplayer online games, especially RPGs, miss the importance of having cool, unique loot.
That's what I hate about WoW, because like you pick something up and you look at it in the icon and the description says like, oh my god, you see something in the auction house and you mouse over the icon and it shows you all these awesome stats. It's purple, gold, whatever rarity it is, and then you put it on and you just replaced your teal smudge with a mahogany smudge. I'm like, you know what, Blizzard, I have had your back for years, but fuck you on my smudge. I just dropped 8 gold on this fucking brown ass smudge. Oh, I got new epaulets for my shoulders. Like, oh, it's a new smudge for your shoulder.
Well, there's a little green smudge inside the brown smudge now.
Well, I mean, but I think the addictive, obsessive parts of MMOs and like games like PSO and Diablo, they were obvious. They're holding the carrot in front of you, and you keep playing. And
well, you were PSO.
Yeah,
what were you into the PSO for?
Well, for playing with my friends and getting more stuff, and like
it's all the loot. It's why
you know that when a red box dropped in PSO,
I ran
you were
over
like,
and stole that shit.
You're right, and I'd be trying trying to beat your ass to that red
Right.
box because you want to know what was in it.
I got obsessed with PSO Episode 3, which was the card game, and very few people
Yeah,
played
you
this game.
did.
I
That was
played that.
just
you did.
GameCube.
I played-
You could have the
I
red
played-
box.
I played
You
300,
could have the red box,
300
motherfucker.
hours of that game online, and it was mainly Japanese people because nobody was playing that in America.
Yeah,
But,
because
you know,
we knew better.
Right, and I became obsessed with like getting the ultimate deck and getting all these really rare cards.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
like,
somewhere out there right now, there's a guy going, dude, I did it with a Phantom Dust.
yeah, and same thing. And like,
Actually, I've been playing that a lot.
That
recently.
game
Have you
is,
really?
That game
Yeah.
is
Dude,
phenomenal.
it's amazing, isn't it? But like,
Phantom
doesn't
Dust
catch
is
on here.
phenomenal.
By the way, just so you know, like I actually, when I was in Japan,
you hung out with the guy who made that, right?
Yukio Futatsugi, we had a 5.5 hour conversation.
Oh,
what is he doing
What's he
now?
working on? Yeah.
He is actually leaving Microsoft Game Studios. He would like
is
to,
he do- what has he
would
done
like
since
to he would
Phantom
like
Dust?
to make another Phantom Dust.
Oh,
He would
hell
like
yeah.
to- and he's actually like, I don't know if I should be saying this, but he's actually talking to Microsoft about being able to license it since he was, you know,
Right.
the
Good
creator.
for him.
But yeah, we have a 5.5 hour interview that's going to be coming up prominently in a big feature that we're doing
Damn.
that'll be out around August.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Okay, back to
I
the-
genuinely did not know that. That's
Right,
fucking
all right.
cool.
All right, back to the obsessions.
Yeah.
though. I think those are obvious ones to be obsessed with.
right.
MMOs are simple.
MMOs
Like,
are simple, right?
I've had two obsessions in like the past 10 years. Like one was Pokemon, which is funny because I was in middle school when Pokemon came out, but I was a part of that red and blue
Right.
obsession. Like you would watch the cartoon a month before the game came out. You knew the characters. You went out and like your best friend got red. You bought blue.
Yeah.
You traded on the school bus before like you got to
I mean,
class.
Pokemon-
You went to the card tournaments. You went
Yeah.
to the mall events. You went to the movies. Like you did all of that stuff.
Pokemon was crafted with that in mind.
It was crafted
it's
and
a-
it worked
yeah.
so well.
It does.
And you know
It
what?
did.
A lot of it was like good. Like it wasn't like shit like Pokemon. Like I mean the movies weren't that great, but like the events were amazing. Like Nintendo did a great job getting out there and getting kids addicted, and it was a hell of a lot of fun as a kid.
Imagine if Pokemon was a microtransaction based game.
Each
Please,
gotta,
stop. No ideas.
Gotta buy them all.
Hey Reggie, did you hear that, Reginator?
Right.
You know what? Actually, they don't even need to worry about that because they're already raking in so much money off that franchise. They don't have to worry about going microtransaction.
No.
I really wish that somebody would come out with a good game that was microtransaction based because I like the thought of being able to try a game and if I don't like it, I don't have to even think about it ever again. But if I do like it, I can invest as much as I want into it. Like Maple Story, but good.
That's
You
cool.
know?
Isn't that
Dungeon
kind of like
Runners?
what Luminates tried to do on XBL?
Luminous, like that's not.
When you
I don't think that's a good
when you
example,
take a full
actually.
featured game and slice it into 50,
No.
50
Before
chunks,
you get too harsh on Q for that there was very sound reasoning for
Right.
that, and that was
That was
because
the size limitations.
that was because
right?
of the size limitations, and Q wanted people to be able to have the whole game, but Microsoft said no, you have to be able to like download it to your memory unit if you only have a memory unit for the core pack owners.
Wow.
So you had to fit it within 50
So Q really
megabytes.
had no choice. They had to fit it within whatever the size limitation was, and that's what they had to do.
Back to those hardware limitations.
What Microsoft really dropped the ball on with Luminous, like as a little aside here, is that it was the artist packs.
We saw
Remember?
one.
Yeah, well,
One.
that
And
was
that was their huge thing at E3 was like, you're going to see artists. We got all
That
these
was
guys
in
lined up.
Microsoft.
We saw one.
That was
it
in
was like
Microsoft's
Madonna and that's
hands.
it.
They were the ones who were supposed to negotiate all the new stuff. In fact, the Madonna one, like Madonna's people even came back and said, like, no, we don't want to do this. So like that one didn't
Probably
even
because it sold
get
like
through.
shit.
I don't know. Like Microsoft really mismanaged that whole thing, and now the whole Xbox Live team that was there who muffed up that whole thing, they're gone. Yeah. So
well, Vindication maybe would ever extend Extra Extreme because that shit's awesome.
yeah. When is that coming out? Have you heard?
Probably fall. I haven't
I
heard
think end of
anything
summer.
about it.
I gotta make a couple calls.
I'm guessing end of summer because they still hadn't put the bosses in the last build we saw. Anyway, so there's a whole other angle to addictive games, which is shooters. And we've talked about this. Remember we talked about the like walled garden effect of like how
You mean first person shooters?
yeah, and how
But,
online
but
games
actually,
get so hard to get into.
I don't think first-person shooters are any different than any other competitive online game or a competitive game in general. I would say
so they all become walled
I
garden.
think sports games. I think fighting games. Because
Well,
you know,
sports games came up also. Let me throw out this for you. iRoll20s was one of the first people to respond in thread, and he said he's faulted for bringing it up so much, but he's been playing Return to Castle Wolfenstein for a long, long time, and that is, I mean, it's used in a lot of competitions for online professional gaming. It has a huge following. Of course, we have Enemy Territory Quake Wars coming up, which is by the same guys, and there were several people who jumped in there and said, "I still play this game." So what do you think about shooters? I mean, how are they similar?
Well, I think these games are all similar because they're skill based, and like when your skills get good on any fighter, first person shooter or sports
stick
game,
with it.
when you win to play against a real opponent, I can remember me and my friend Rob back in college playing Street Fighter Alpha 2 literally for like 8 hours, and Ken versus Ryu, and we would just fight on and on because it was such a good fight, And same with like Madden, you're playing against your friend, or a shooter, you're really good at Halo and you're playing against your friends. Like anything where you can develop a skill and it gives you a feeling of expertise. I'm beating people up. Of course, you're going to keep playing.
How many years did? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I played the shit out of some Counter-Strike. It's like, how many times can you fire up the Italy map, and like run down the corridor or try and snipe that camping motherfucker up there in the.
No, dude, I'm going for the jump to go through the windows. Down the alley, you take the right turn, go up the boxes, through the alley, through the building.
You play that because you're playing the same goddamn maps over and over again. Whatever.
That's the hallmark of an amazing competitive game. If it's balanced, if it's fun, if it's deep.
So wait a minute. But didn't we argue just a few weeks ago that was a negative thing for those games?
Here's the difference. As a game like the Halo series that gets the matchmaking right, where if you're new, you're gonna get matched up with people who are new, and then you've got a game like Counter-Strike where that isn't there. You jump into a random server, you might get stuck with a bunch of people who are way better.
So what's the criticism? Is it that like, oh, you're playing the same thing over and over again?
No, it's more that like you get these niche crowds that have these very specific strategies, and you can't penetrate that wall because they're so good.
I think the criticism is like this is only really relevant for expert play, for if you're already good at these games. Because if you're not, and you go online and you try to play a sports game, a fighting game, or a shooter, and you're not any good, you're not going to have fun because you're going to get your ass handed.
Yeah, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago in reference to Shadowrun and like Command and Conquer, where within like just a few days of the game's release, if you go online and you're not really proficient in the game, you're not going to have it's not going to be fun.
So what are you guys? What is your criticism? Are you saying like, I'm trying to figure out what the point is?
That's a really good question.
No.
Because I mean, like chess, you've got one fucking board, you've got the same pieces for the last 800 years, whatever, and it's not going to change. And
let me boil it
against somebody who's
let me
really
break
good,
it down for you. Here's the point: is this? How does the games business, as it's trying to become a bigger entertainment world,
and online's becoming so much of a draw,
right? That's drawing in all these people. How does it balance the appeal that we're talking about in this segment of games that really do get you into it, and that you're ready to spend the time on, you're ready to get into it and be a part of it, versus the negative side of that is that if there's a group that's doing that, then everybody else who's on the outside then gets cut off.
But the problem is, I think these games that are obsessive are intrinsically made for hardcore players who are willing to dedicate the time to get good at them, whereas the casual gamers aren't going to be able to play these games.
Well, there's always going to be a differentiation between casual gamers and hardcore gamers, and there's even a bigger delineation between hardcore and super hardcore gamers, because there are people like us who could conceivably pick up Counter-Strike at any time and do fairly well if we're all like relatively...
Speak for yourself. I suck at Counter-Strike.
Right, but just for the sake of like discussion, like let's pretend we could all go on an even slate, but then there's going to be that hardcore wall, right? But I think it's how you design the game, because I've been playing a lot of Lost Planet online. I really love the multiplayer in that game. When you go on, you can play as... You go up against guys who are level 99, and there's rewards for leveling up. But when you look at the people who have joined this game, for example, you see a bunch of level 99s, and you see a bunch of level 5 players, level 55. So you all play together, and the good players, if you're randomly assigned to a team with a bunch of good players, I think it averages it out. But that's a game where you can play and not be great, but as you level up, you learn things, but you have a support group there, because it's not like, I think it auto selects.
But I bet Lost Planet doesn't actually have the hardcore clientele of like a Shadowrun. Like it's a little less hardcore of a shooter.
See, this is one of the things that's almost disappointing to me about Live, is that I realize we're in the fledgling stages of really having online communities and online console gaming. But one of the ideas was that you'd have those zones. Like, I'm in the recreational zone.
Yeah, those zones don't really work.
It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work at all.
Do you even know how it differentiates? I don't know how it works. I don't know how. I mean, does that change
when
I go online? Does it check that? Like, I don't.
I think it comes down to the game designers. They need to really come up with ways to get people who aren't hardcore, who want to dabble, into a situation where they can enjoy the online multiplayer, maybe cooperative only, or something like that.
But I do think we kind of act like casual gamers can't get obsessed with games, and I bet they can.
No, they can.
I bet those.
It's just about giving them the opportunity.
You know how many bejeweled, addicted freaks there are.
Like I bet there are alpha moms out there who play a lot of Cake Mania.
And if there was a competitive Bejeweled, would you want to go up against them? Because you get your ass. I would get my ass handed to me.
I did.
Did you say alpha mom?
I did just say alpha.
Alpha mom.
Yeah.
It's like a very hardcore alpha. Is she a soccer mom, an alpha mom?
She's beyond
the proto MILF.
The proto MILF. Outstanding. Anyway, it would be nice if they could like figure out some way to incorporate that. And this is why I guess also people have some concerns about where Sony's going with the PS3 online, because it doesn't even have that. There needs to be a maturation of how we deal with a larger group of people coming into the online world and letting them enjoy their games and have a good time, but at the same time find the game that's good for them, get excited about it, get into it, and really enjoy it.
Remember Steel Battalion? You know, if like you entered Steel Battalion, you weren't there from day one.
Whatever, that game kicked your ass on single player.
Yeah, well,
Ejected to fuck.
I don't think
if you didn't eject, you started the damn game over.
I don't think any casual gamer was accidentally buying themselves a $200 game and sitting down with this big controller.
And then like, I might as well buy the online game too.
Yeah,
we're all arguing whether our games, which games are addictive, which ones are obsessive. But like, aren't they trying to figure out if games are like scientifically addictive? Like
they are. So Patrick, you had a little news before we go to news in the next segment. You had some news from the AMA, and I can tell you one thing, and we haven't even gotten to this a lot. Skill-based games really are a lot of this. Like the reason I am so addicted to Forza, and the reason I like racing with Jote so much is I know that he is like just a little hair ahead of me, and I'm like so trying to find, okay, I can find a faster line on turn 3 of Maple Valley, and I can make up a 1/10 of a second. I can find another 1/10 of a second if I can get up the hill on turn 6 a little faster. And if you have those games, and the same thing applies to shooters, if you have those games where real skills are involved and you can definitely practice and get better and better and better and better, they will keep you coming back to them. And that could be an addiction, which is apparently...
Yeah, so there was this report that came out this week by somebody proposing that the American Medical Association actually subscribed to the idea that gaming addiction is an officially recognized medical disorder. The recommendation was that the American Medical Association strongly encourage the consideration and inclusion of internet/video game addiction as a formal diagnostic disorder in the upcoming revision of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 4.
I want to know what the ICD-9 code would be for that.
Yeah, I mean, the impression I got from this is that like they're trying to diagnose something, but a lot of this stuff is so out there. Like a lot of these reports come out.
I don't even think you can look at that, purely as a single case scenario where they're talking specifically. I think there are so many other things that tie into this. There's probably like political ramifications. There's probably
well, I mean, there's a quote that says in the report. It says, not surprisingly, the video game industry's own research has concluded that there is no causal relationship between video game violence and aggression, which totally plays into like every week there's another report. This is why One Up News stopped reporting on these findings, because every week it's someone found out there's a causal relationship. Someone found out there's a causal relationship.
There's an addiction in anything. Like it doesn't matter whether or not you trade baseball cards or you collect comic books. Like when I was young, I was a freak for comic books. I probably had an addiction. I would spend every cent that I earned on comic books, but it wasn't a problem because I didn't go off and kill somebody with my comic books. So
wait, when you get into something, you get into it, and that's okay?
As long as it doesn't affect your life adversely. I mean,
dude, I was being sarcastic.
Yeah,
of course it is.
These guys always trying to put a label on it and trying to I guess, exude some level of expertise or on top of the situation.
The implication of this is there's so much legislation out there trying to get restrictions on game sales and on these mature games and trying to make the steps down the slippery slope to legislating content. And so this is just one of those things that the most likely scenario is this is somebody that believes in these kinds of legislation, and you could reference a report like this that got into the American Medical Association's diagnostics as well, we need to be looking at this, we need to be legislating, and then, elections are coming up, and even though these are going to get shot down because they're constitutionally incorrect, look what I did. I tried.
Yeah,
and I tried to do what that alpha mom wanted.
Well,
soundbite.
And anything that's addictive and fun, like sex or drugs or alcohol, if you're an addictive personality, it's possible that you're gonna go into slippery slope and be able to not stop. And same with video games; they're fun. You want to play them. So
what's interesting is I was reading an issue of Vanity Fair this just the other day, and they had some Vanity Fair essay contest or something, and they had this incredibly articulate, well written article in there by this guy who was quoting some immigrant from the when the United States was first formed, And
Back in the day.
But at one point during the thing, he actually says, he actually mentions that he's like, you know what, movies and video games are not really as bad or as addictive or as harmful as people try and make them out to be. People can separate reality from the movie or the game that they're playing. Yeah. And this is a very general Vanity Fair. It's a I guess just like
it's mainstream
mainstream culture magazine. Here is a very educated writer discussing this, and he just kind of tossed that in there in the context of the article. Was brilliant. It's like, yeah, just because I've been playing video games for 30 years now, and I haven't killed anybody yet.
It's the same thing that happened to comics 50 years ago.
It's the same thing that literature and film and every artistic
every
expression
medium that affects people or gauges an emotional response or
So the unfortunate timing event is that we're also in a society that's very much allows people to ascribe blame to anything other than themselves.
Yeah, we're very legal happy.
We're very legal happy.
It's very easy to throw out a lawsuit.
I seriously want to move the fuck out of this country. I hate this country. It's so filled with retards.
All right, so you got plenty of news, don't you? I mean, you got all kinds of stuff. You got stats. And oh, by the way, yes.
So this is the week of NPD. We have the numbers.
Oh, joy.
Aren't you excited?
I love them.
Don't you want to talk about thousands of numbers?
They're so exciting. So unpredictable.
Sony Defense Force activate. It's time to go. In the break,
Shane's
we'll be
glowing.
right back. He is kind of glowing, isn't it?
It's a blue hue.
He's excited.
All right, we'll give you 30 seconds to get ready, and then we'll be right back with the news.
This is the sound of us walking across your mom's ass. GFW Radio. Listen to our podcast. Yo, yo. GFWradio.oneup.com. Podcast.oneup.com. Get it at the iTunes Music Store every Tuesday.
All right, we're back and ready to hit the news. Are we leading with NPD? No,
we're not. We're gonna start with the game announcements. I'm gonna keep a little teased on the NPD, but it's the same old, same old. So anyway, this week the big thing was that they announced Soul Calibur 4. Namco Bandai announced Soul Calibur 4 for the 360 and PS3. So anyone that was worried that Soul Calibur Legends was the future of the series, it's not. Soul Calibur 4 is coming. It's coming next fall.
Look, man, we had the exclusive first hour or whatever with the video. Was that video the most disappointing video?
Ivy's boobs are bigger than ever before.
I got to say, I applauded that trailer when it was shown. It was exactly what I wanted them to show.
Oh, come on.
What does that mean?
Why? Because
nothing?
Because you didn't see jack shit about the game?
Because you can see the game in the August issue of Electronic Gaming.
Oh, all right, God. Well, that's honest. That
is honest. All right, shill, man.
But just the fact that it's coming out and,
Yeah, Milky and I played it. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
we
go.
played it.
We played it.
We touched it.
Yeah.
I beat Shane.
You didn't.
I did.
You did?
You're a fucking liar. You always lie. I got to tell the world, you are a fucking liar. I played you twice, and I beat you both times, you fucking douchebag.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Oh, you did.
I repealed the douchebag.
However,
by the way, you did win.
They didn't have any joysticks. I can't play that shit with.
Oh,
I can't play that shit with a controller. Come on.
Whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
Hold on, who was playing
Did you
who?
play it with a controller?
Yeah.
Yeah, all they had
I
was
had the same
controllers.
handicap.
Who'd you play, Shane?
Ivy.
Ivy, of course, your best character.
Yeah.
Your best character. Who'd you play?
I played.
Christ.
Thanks for spilling scotch all over me, cock. I think who did I play? Siegfried?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
it?
wear.
Yeah.
Not even,
we
is
only
that
have
best?
We only have 3
No,
kids.
I never played
That's
Siegfried.
enough. All right, that's enough Soul Calibur. Stay tuned.
All right.
So there was that. That was this week, and then the also big thing was in the PC world was that they announced John Carmack was at the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference and
Just down the street from us?
Yeah, just down the street in San
An
Francisco.
unexpected place for him to debut his new engine, really.
Said we're bringing it home for the Mac.
yeah, and he announced. Well, he didn't announce the new game. He basically just announced their new tech and went through a very short 2 or 3 minute demo, but went through their new tech. What we've heard so far about the game is that it's not strictly a shooter. I don't think we're going to see a huge break from its normal stuff, but
the tech demo looked like MotorStorm. It was like an
it did.
off-road racing.
Yeah. It looked like an off-road race in this huge canyon environment. So he didn't give any indication if that's actually where the game's going.
What's the over-under on how many minutes into the game before you see a cyber demon?
Well, they didn't show any enemies. They just showed like a random Asian
rocket
guy.
head,
Like,
with a rocket head and missile shoulders.
I hear the game is a lot like MotorStorm with monster closets and flaming skulls. That's what I heard.
Do you get a flashlight?
Maybe.
Yeah, but the problem is, even though they're designing this engine to run on Mac, is you're going to need one of those 8 processor Macs.
8 core, triple core.
Yeah.
That would be
good luck.
The one that I don't have.
Dual quad core.
Well, no, it's coming. I mean, he announced it at the Mac conference, but it's also coming out for the PS3, PC,
Of course.
360. So it's on everything.
But you're going to need a lot of RAMs.
So we'll see more at E3.
Upgrade your 360.
Will we see more at E3?
They're going. They said they will announce it officially at E3
Excellent.
next month. So we will know more very soon. Also this week, 3D Realms announced that they have 2 big announcements coming up in the next 4 to 6 months, and neither of them will have to do with Duke Nukem Forever.
Here's a quarter. Call someone who gives a shit.
We are now at almost, I can't remember if it's a decade or almost a decade.
I think it is
going on a
Since they announced the
decade.
game. I remember like 6 months ago, Scott Miller said that, well, as soon as they finish the game, they're going to work on the sequel, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to
knows what the hell
two
is
new
going
games
on.
slated for the 2012 time frame.
The cynical alarm just went off.
Christ.
Oh, you know what, dude? I would kill to have George B. If you're listening, you should come on one of yours because
You really need the STFU.
No, they really need to say
or come correct
something.
or something, right?
You
So
need the CC.
the wait continues. Who knows when the hell we're going to hear anything? All we keep
Hey,
getting
we had the
is-
Prey guys on. You never know. It could be like the sequel to having Prey guys on.
See, there's a difference between like a game that you're not sure if it's going to happen, like StarCraft 2, where you have an entire country waiting with bated breath for any sight of a sequel, right? StarCraft
Right.
2. And then you've got a whole nation of indifferent motherfuckers like Duke Nukem Forever. Stop saying that name.
Duke Nukem, we've all moved on.
Yeah.
Really. The idea of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger
Wait.
parody fighting like pigs.
giving $20 to a stripper.
Hold on, hold on. Weren't you repping the Duke Nukem haircut just a couple of months ago?
That doesn't mean I think that they should, that they should release
That
a
doesn't
game
mean I think it's fabulous.
in this day and age. Come on, like Half-Life changed the world. You guys got to fucking catch up.
Dude,
Yeah.
Duke Nukem kicked Gordon Freeman's ass.
We'll see.
So anyway, we'll hear about the game when we hear about it. But anyway, so the big thing this week is the new NPD May 2007.
Here they are.
numbers out.
Here they are. Hold on. And how many PS3s didn't sell?
Actually, the number is exactly the same as last month.
81,000?
82,000.
You know, I got to say, I'm really stunned. I really thought that Pirates of the Caribbean, End of the World,
Surf's Up.
and Surf's Up
Shrek.
would like cause a huge rush of hardware sales.
So the funny thing is, the April numbers
that
were
serious?
also
no.
Oh.
were also 82,000, and Sony was like, "Well, it was software. That's why it didn't sell." And
course.
then we don't have any software this month either. So I guess to their testament, they've had 2 months with no software, and they didn't
3. We're
3 months. Well,
we're
2 months. 2 months under 100,000.
Yeah,
No, we're
sold.
3 under 100.
No, March was 130.
That's usually the
Oh.
Nintendo problem, you know?
No software.
It's
Right.
like, yeah, it's like,
And
oh,
see,
here's
that's-
Zelda, then dry spell, 6 months.
See, that's-
oh, here's F-Zero,
No,
dry
like
spell.
Nintendo, they gave people Mario Party, and it's number 2. People went nuts for Mario Party 8.
Mario
Even though-
Party sold 314,000 copies
in, like, 3 days.
We play.
Are you
is still,
kidding me?
We play still in the top 5 with
What are you
227.
thinking? If you're the Mario Party development team, oh, fuck, what do we do now? Here, throw rocks at the wall. Just whatever.
But it sells. People love that shit.
Yeah, somehow they do.
So
Okay, look.
every machine this month went down. All 3
When
of the
does
main
this get
hardware
bad?
machines went down.
Let's before we move out of next gen, we've got Wii just kicking crap out of everything.
Boy, DS is kicking
We have-
even more crap.
Let's not handheld. Let's just talk home console. We got Wii kicking the crap out of everything. We have 360 sort of really like in the like next gen high end graphics soldiering on.
Not
And
really. 360 did worse this month than it did same month
dude,
last
it
year.
still did almost twice as many as PS3.
Not really. And like the fact,
No, really, it did
No,
150.
It did. I mean,
what was it?
360 did 155. PS3
Well,
did
okay.
82. But
Okay.
PS2 did
Yeah, what are you
182.
doing, Garnett? Math.
I know math. I'm
Like,
wrecking
what's
his
with this
shit with
math?
So look, and let's just keep the next gen for a second. The problem I see is that the margin keeps getting worse for PS3. They're not gaining any ground. That concerns me because
why should they be gaining?
I have to say
they shouldn't, but it concerns me because
if you add up PS3 and 360, it doesn't even reach the Wii.
Right.
But like, to be objective for a second, I gotta say, I don't understand why people are buying Wiis. It must be like soccer moms still buying the Wii Sports because Nintendo's done. All right, Zelda came out.
Right.
Yeah, WarioWare and Mario Party, but.
Well,
it's still a Nintendo-driven console. There's no third-party game that you're like, oh my god, I need to get this. There's no Resident Evil 4 on it.
The price point has to be playing into it, don't you think? $250?
It's the price point. It's kids. It's moms. It's lapsed gamers. It's everybody who doesn't have the money or the desire to buy a next gen console.
Well, actually, I should correct that. There is Resident Evil 4 on it now, but you know what I mean,
not yet,
right? You know what I mean. Like, there's no like.
Oh my God,
exclusive third party, yeah.
But obviously, with Wii Play and Mario Party selling all these, it's casual games. It's kids.
And it's like those Bejeweled. It's that Pogo Duck.
But how many Wiis out there are gathering dust? Because like once you've played,
dude, who cares? They sold 338,000. They sold 360,000 last month.
So Wii is catching up to 360 by November.
Wii is going to pass 360.
Yeah, by November.
That's a done deal.
By November, Wii is going to pass 360.
Right.
And at this point, Nintendo is so successful, so dominant that it's not even like a next gen console war. It's like an occupation. Nintendo is like taking over the game industry.
And then PS3 and 360 are fighting it out in their own little corner.
But here's my concern about PS3, to not get too far away from that, is that PS3 continues to get deeper into the hole, and the amount they're going to need... Hold on, just let me finish. The amount they're going to need to make up in the holiday season continues to get bigger and bigger and harder to achieve.
Right, but you make it seem like it's this stunning thing. Like, how come PS3 isn't selling like crazy?
No, I understand
despite the fact that Surf Stuff came out. I mean, that's Unreal 2 game. Why aren't people spending $600?
If you go to the spring of 360, the year after it launched, you've got games like Oblivion, and Oblivion came to the PS3, but it came out a year after it came out on 360. I mean, there's just the software is not there. Great, it's going to catch up eventually, but is it going to catch up to the point where it's going to pass?
And in Q4,
is it going to catch up?
I don't think so.
Because all right.
About that.
So
if you're saying Final Fantasy 13 is going to be when it catches up.
If you own a PS3 and you're like so stoked for like Devil May Cry 4. Oh, it's coming to Xbox as well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so is Grant. And this is where the big GTA 4 argument comes in, because GTA 4 is not only coming to Xbox, but as we found out this week, am I blowing one of your news stories?
No, I mean, no.
Downloadable...
The episodic content, well... All right, it's only coming to 360, but I have my doubts whether that's going to remain exclusive.
It'll come to PS3.
What's coming to 360?
The DLC that's going to go with
previously announced that different DLC was in the works for the PS3 version, and it's coming out later.
Here's my question to you, Shane, because but out of this group, you are kind of the Sony defender. Does the PS3 have enough compelling, unique content to make up this gap as it gets larger and larger?
This fall? Is that what you're asking?
This holiday season.
Do I think that PS3 in America will surpass Xbox 360 install base in America by the end of this year? Is that your question?
Yeah, sure.
No, I don't.
Where does that?
Do I think that PS3 install base will, worldwide go beyond the Xbox 360 install base by the end of next year? Yes.
Because are you thinking they're going to do
only and barely only because of the fact that they will actually have a presence in Japan as opposed to
they're going to hammer the shit out of
Final Fantasy 13, like Final Fantasy 13 and Metal Gear Solid 4. Those are important titles, and when they come out in Japan, they will spur like hardware sales.
Metal Gear Solid does not sell as well in Japan. I was going to say impact.
Call me ignorant, but MGS isn't a system seller.
It was. MGS2 was.
MGS2 was. MGS3 wasn't.
That MGS4 isn't MGS3 now, is it?
Well, you know what? PS2 didn't need a system seller, but here's the crazy part, and this is kind of a dilemma that Sony has themselves in. Patrick, what did PS2 do last month?
The PS2 this month sold 182, which is...
It's still outselling Xbox 360.
I know!
It's not stunning that the PS... That's good.
I'm not
sales.
saying it's stunning. I'm saying that it's kicking ass, too.
They're also... the systems that are selling a lot are the ones that are the cheapest.
Well, no, of course.
Yeah.
People are valuing.
Look. Number 3 game for May was Spider-Man 3 for PS2, 248,000. So, and the top 5 games for May were Pokemon Diamond, Mario Party 8, Spidey for PS2, Pokemon Pearl, and Wii Play.
Let me not play PS3.
The only next gen game came in at number 6 and 7 and 8 and 9.
Yeah, let me not play PS3 hater. Next gen is struggling.
Oh yeah, we all seem outraged that like the general populace isn't going out of their way to buy these expensive games and consoles. Well,
that's the point. It's expensive.
It's still the same way that I bought a Saturn for $400 on day one. The average guy, they're not running out to spend a ton of money on brand new tech.
I just think it's a bad situation for Sony, because if you have to wait until holiday season of 2008 to finally establish your foothold. That's tough.
I mean, they've definitely dropped the ball. They should be like 6 months ahead of where they are now in terms of their software releases. And like, it's inexcusable that Surf's Up is the main release for an entire month.
I don't think that the industry is ready, or really like the industry of game development does not need to be in a situation where they've got to devote hundreds of people to the development of a game to compete with something like Final Fantasy. They don't need to have like this incredibly expensive, costly development environment. They don't need to like try and increase the amount of staff that they have so they can figure out the technology. It's very tough. That's why like the Wii is probably appealing. Now that it's selling so well, I'm sure the game plan for most publishers is like, okay, we need to start developing original content for Wii, not
and
just
that's
this
what we're
half-ass
see
port
next
bullshit.
Fall.
Yeah,
next fall.
And
next fall,
when next fall comes around, and these Wii original titles, like let's say a Resident Evil 4 quality, equivalent comes out for the Wii, that's going to make it harder for the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
But the problem is, publishers still believe in the long-term success of both PS3 and 360.
But are they mistaken in that belief?
No,
is that being stuck in the old? I think that's being stuck in the old framework of how this works, and they're not looking at the handheld market, which is probably the future of the console market.
Well, the handheld market is going to continue to succeed.
I don't know about handheld market being the
But
future.
the idea that
it's the casual games. It's those people picking up those machines. The Wii every month, March 259, April 360. Yeah, in May it went down to 338.
Right.
But yeah, it went down by like less than 20,000.
Right.
I will say this: there is
and it had no
definitely
software. It had Mario Party 8. That's it. That's the fucking
Wii killer app.
All right,
Balls of Fury.
All right, Wii comes with the software you need to play, which is Wii Sports, which is really fun. So out of the gate, there's a reason to buy Wii. You don't need any other games.
Pack-in.
All right.
Out of the gate, it's May.
Right. Also, it's really short-sighted for people to think that, like, oh, next gen's over, it's not selling. These consoles are still new. These things take
I didn't say it was
time.
over.
I'm
I
not
said
even saying it's
struggling.
over. I'm just saying that there's going to be a divide.
Right.
And like Wii is going to be that mainstream
Definitely. We
part. And like we were kind of talking about earlier how like we want these epic RPGs and adventure games that are next gen, beautiful looking. I see on the console market Wii being where companies make the money to make those games in the console market.
Let me reinforce your argument for you, because there's a willingness, at least within some game developers and publishers now, to do that. And I think that's evidenced by Tomb Raider Anniversary, because we could have seen that crapped out in time to go along with the release last week of PS2 and PC versions. Instead, they're holding the Wii version and allowing Crystal D to really make a more robust, like, oh god damn it, I hate that word.
But Garnet, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you're saying they're holding it back. I'm pretty sure they just decided at the last minute, shit, we got to make a Wii game.
Yeah.
Actually, I can. Without burning any bridges or making anybody upset, I can tell you the fact that they originally went into it with the idea of making it day and date, and Crystal D went back and said, we could do something good with this. There is enough installed base that you should let us make this something good, and they were allowed to do that. And I haven't seen it, but I've been told repeatedly times and assured that the Wii version will be extremely compelling, and it will be the best version of Tomb Raider Anniversary.
I don't doubt that, but like I do believe that like the success of Wii, the immense success of Wii, but it doesn't look as good as 360 and PS3. And I say again,
but does it have to?
Yes, I say ultimately that there are
absolutely.
Well, this is the argument we had last week.
Well, to be successful, no, but like for the millions of gamers who are enthusiast gamers, hardcore gamers who really want like cutting edge, impressive,
who aren't the mainstream.
See, but here's the thing
that we consider to be core gamers. Those people are not going to be sated by the graphics on Wii. They really aren't.
And they sure will when fucking Super Smash Brothers comes out. They're going to be happy as fuck. Okay, and it doesn't matter if they've got the bump.
Are you talking about Nintendo fans, lapsed gamers? I'm talking about
no, dude.
That is going to sell some systems. You think that shit is selling out? You're going to see a spike when Smash Brothers comes out.
Of course, Wii is a huge success. It's not going to stop being a success.
If Nintendo put out a Wii specific like brand new Pokemon game, holy shit, spike!
Oh my god!
Okay,
they'll never do that.
And it is going to look like Pokemon.
Right.
And that is going to sell like a motherfucker. Like, I think it's a big risk right now for people to put all their eggs in the next gen basket, because you can go through it and create this amazing adventure game, whatever. It's like cutting edge, and it doesn't sell for shit. Look at Okami, all right? That was last gen, but there was no reason that game should have failed in Japan.
Right.
There's how many millions of PS2s in Japan, and it sold X thousands?
We lamented that over and over. Yeah,
was it marketed wrong? We don't know.
Yeah,
but the thing,
but that could happen to any game now. And if the game that happens to, and you just happen to put a shitload of money into it, like let's say Midway. Let's say they're putting a lot of money into developing this new Area 51 game, but then they go and release it in the same fucking week as Halo 3.
That's the problem. But in terms of development teams third-party development teams making good games for Wii, when we have developers on the record saying Wii is not as good as Xbox One for graphics, that this week that happened. All right, that's out there.
That's fine, but
that's fine.
It doesn't necessarily
cares? So you
Soccer Mom doesn't. The people who have bought this already for Wii Sports obviously don't care.
Right, I'm not talking about Soccer Mom. I'm talking about the development team. So you can make a PS3 or 360 game, or you can make a Wii game for a console that's worth.
Great, they can kick and scream all they want, but at the end of the day,
when their shit doesn't sell,
their shit's not going to sell, and they're going to have to make that Wii game so that their company can justify making these big epic games.
But because it isn't selling right now in the May NPDs of 2007, does that mean that in the future, and the PS3 and 360 are long-range projects, and PS1 and PS2
is the 360 really a long-range project?
That's a good question. But the PS1 and PS2 and NES, everything out of the gate, no, it wasn't a giant success. Wii is a giant success out of the gate. That's a rarity, not the norm. And the fact that the 360 and PS3 hardware and software sales are soft right now, that doesn't mean they can't be strong. It's a building process. The sky is falling.
Yeah, but
everyone's short-sighted. I'm so sick of people going nuts over this shit.
You got to think about when we talk to people like Keiji Inafune, where they've got to make their decisions based on sound.
They got to make
rational.
it now.
Yeah,
they're planning a project 2 years from now. They're looking at these numbers,
right. And we all definitely want better games for Wii because we're not happy with the games we're getting.
Right, I don't want to play Mortal Kombat with some waggle added. Right, I'd rather just go back and play the Xbox or PS2 one like normally.
So what were you going to say about KG?
Huh?
What were you going to say about the development process?
Oh, well, he was saying that he cannot afford to think like a gamer. Oh, I would love it if we did this. He can't romanticize it. He's got to make sound business decisions. It's like, okay, well, all right, 360 has this installed base. The forecast for the PS3 may or may not get better. Shane seems to think that Final Fantasy is going to save the PS3 and make it happen. It's very possible that could be the spark. But right now, the Wii is selling. It continues to sell. How many is it going to sell by fiscal quarter, fiscal year end in 2008, 2009? Do you want to? What are your odds? The whole gaming industry is gambling from a publisher's perspective, so you've got to make sound business decisions. Okay, can we make a game for the Wii that costs 25%, to develop? And it could possibly sell more, or are we going to hope that all of a sudden
25% of what a PS3 or 360 development?
The frightening thing is that the annual the average household salary for the United States is something like $38,000 or something. That's the household income. That means mom and dad working $38,000. That a $600-700 investment in just the machine alone. Not counting extra controllers or needing a high definition TV. We can be Sony fanboys, Xbox 360 fanboys, but most people are still plugging their shit in using composite cables across the country in these, whatever their meager budgets can afford. And they're missing out. They're not as passionate about the high def thing.
Patrick, hold on. Let me ask a question. Patrick, what were the next gen titles that topped in the NPD list for this last month?
There were only 3. All of them were 360 games. Number 6 was Forza Motorsport 2, which came out same day as Shadowrun. Shadowrun didn't hit the top 10.
Forza in a very short time. How much did it do?
I don't have the numbers. I don't have the specific numbers, but it came at number 6.
Number 6 is good.
We played it 227, so probably something around the 200 mark. And it came out, I think, May 29th. So it did that in the span of a couple of days.
So did Mario Party came out 29th as well.
Yeah, and that did 314. So even then, that's a $100,000 difference between the two of them. Guitar Hero 2, number 7, is still doing really well. Guitar Hero 2 for the PS2 is still selling. It's number 10. CNC 3 is doing really well on 360. It's number 9. And Spider-Man is at number 8. So
the next-gen titles were Forza,
Guitar Hero 2, Spider-Man 3, and CNC 3.
All on 360.
All on 360. No Surf's Up. Sorry, Shane.
Sorry.
And there was one hardware winner.
No Unreal 2 engine game.
The winner besides Nintendo was PSP.
PSP is the only machine in May to have actually gone up, which is not reflected so much in software as much as this is the first full month where we're seeing
the price
any
drop.
Sort of impact of the price drop.
It sold really well. It outsold PS2. It's the first time that's ever happened.
It did. PSP did 221. It did 183 last month, and PS2 did 182. So it's gaining momentum. The real test will be whether it holds that 221 next month. I don't know of too much compelling software that's coming out for the PSP.
I want to
this
redesign.
summer.
All right, we've killed on the NPDs.
Yeah, let's move
jam.
on.
Let's jam
move
through
on.
the rest of the news and let these guys get out of here.
All right, so this week it sounds like David Jaffe put up a blog
Did
post.
you see those pictures?
Yeah, of like a really broken down, shitty looking warehouse that seems to pretty much indicate that he's opening up a new design studio. This actually wouldn't be much of a surprise. He's said as much for the last couple of months. He said that he still want to work with Sony. He said he still wants to do PlayStation Network games. He has two more.
Well, he had that notorious interview with Game Trailers.
Yeah, like the drunken game trailers from April, and he basically outlined it. He said he was working with Cory Barlog to outline God of War 3, which kind of seemed to preempt him leaving Sony to go do his own thing. We don't have any confirmation on that right now. We're looking into what's going on.
Is he going to be like the new Mark Cerny?
It's believed that he's still working within the rubrics of Sony, though.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
He wants to work with Sony. He believes in Sony's ideas and their mission, but he kind of it's always sounded like he wants to go and do it in his own studio. He has a lot of ties to Utah Incognito. That's where he started. So
I think you got a guy who has like the basis in Sony and has the ties and the connections, and now has like built enough reputation that he has some ability to like break loose just far enough to have some freedom.
Right. He's got the juice.
Yeah, he's got the juice.
I'm sure, especially with E3 coming up, we're going to hear about that in the next couple of weeks. Also, last Sunday, the Halo 3 bid ended. We got some stats on that today. 820,000 unique users logged in for the beta over, what was that, 5 weeks?
That's
and a
a
half?
lot, actually.
That is
Wow.
a huge
I
number.
mean, they managed to reach like at least a fourth of the audience. You know?
Right. And that was over a beta where a lot of them needed to purchase a game to get into it.
The limited ability to get to it.
You needed to put in the effort to get into the beta. It wasn't you just went on and downloaded it.
Almost
to the
a million
marketplace.
people.
Yeah. So those are some impressive
meaningful
numbers.
Audience.
Yeah. And so, that's bodes well for the game.
Luke
going
M.
into September.
Smile.
Yeah. And they also, was it yesterday, they sent out an email teasing
The hell
what's
was
probably going to be. It's going to be like Halo 2. They were gonna run some
That's called viral.
Well, like
alternate reality game over
it was
the
like
summer.
a poem. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it seemed to tease like something from the past, like the Forerunner. I'm not really big. I don't know much about the
I
Halo
don't know what that
mythology, but
I thought it was some kind of Dreamfall thing or something.
See, Shu forwarded to me. I thought it was like some fan poetry he'd written. Actually, yeah.
To you?
sounds like an arc we're going to hear about over the summer. Also this week, actually pretty interesting. We've been waiting for someone to do this. Is they launched their own blog, sort of kind of a all-encompassing combat to Major Nelson and kind of this army of bloggers that Microsoft has.
Not only did they launch their own blog,
but yesterday, Sony Computer Entertainment America's president and CEO Jack Tretton actually went in and blogged a huge post on his own, kind of explaining his mission. We don't know how regular this is. We don't know if this is just kind of Sony's like first week assault, just trying to get people interested in clicking and commenting.
hey, you know how the blogging thing is? They'll get started for a little while and then they'll be like, we're done.
We'll see.
But I will say that the Sony blog is completely open and like free.
They claim it's open. They claim PR is not looking at it.
Right. But it's very honest about what it is. It is a Sony blog. Whereas like Major Nelson, you might not know that's the official.
Come the fuck on.
If you're
we all know that.
know.
My mom doesn't know that, but she probably knows that the Sony PlayStation blog is owned by Sony.
Okay, so what did Trenton say?
So anyway, the most interesting thing that Trenton, he went through the mission statement, blah blah. We've all heard that shit before. The thing that caught my eye was that he said there are 15 PS3 internal first-party games that are coming before the end of the year, which don't seem to include any sort of PlayStation Network titles. I don't know if he's including those or not.
That's not hard to believe. I mean, look how many games they announced last year at E3.
So it sounds like E3, for at least from Sony's perspective, is going to be a whole lot bigger than we're anticipating. So not much longer before we hear about that.
We love to get excited about that Megaton. I don't think it'll be E3. I think it'll be TGS.
There's stuff of both.
One thing that made me laugh this week, just to shove it in your guys' faces, was everyone made fun of me for coming back from school drunk and playing Cooking Mama. Oh, wait, look.
I didn't make fun of you.
Cooking Mama is going to be the game that gets Majesco into the black.
Don't let me in with these assholes.
Cooking Mama saved them from being delisted from the stock exchange.
Cooking Mama is saving Majesco right now. It thanks to $15 million in earnings from this game because Majesco is decided.
But you know what the problem with that is that I bet they crank out like 4 more. There's going to be like Cooking Mama 4 XL Empires.
Was it Cake Mania?
That's not Cooking Mama.
You know what? They should get like
I know.
The cake genre.
This is so ripe for like a Food Channel tie-in.
What's
like,
your favorite gaming genre, Shane? Cake.
we've actually heard that Iron Chef license has been sold to somebody. And I'm saying,
Oh, fuck, you're kidding me. That would be awesome.
I hear someone has it.
Are you kidding me? As long as Bobby Flay's not involved, I'd be loving it. I hate that dude.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm the only
take
one
it
that would like to
personal,
see.
Man, Bobby Flay's a douche. Did you ever watch him go off on Morimoto? He was
You know what? No, I haven't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I like
Anyway,
him. I like him
keep
better
going,
than
Patrick.
Multi Mario. Anyway, go on.
Keep
Anyway,
it rolling,
so-
Patrick.
Take-Two this week decided they announced that they were they're consolidating effort, and consolidation is just a nice way of saying that we're going to lay
firing
off a bunch of people. The first thing that came out yesterday or Wednesday was that they're closing the 2K Games office in New York.
Rockstar stays though.
It does not affect
Rockstar says
Rockstar
this
not
is
affected.
only management. Not unfortunately, unlike some of the layoffs recently, not everyone got an invitation to move on. It was select employees got severance packages. Some people had asked for to move back to the West. Basically, they're trying to Take-Two's trying to recruit everyone
I heard you had
to
a
the
good
West.
dinner this past week.
The rumor is that 2K is doing this in hopes of selling the company. That's what I heard.
Really?
They need to shape up. They've had six
Look,
consecutive
GTA is a big ass carrot, so I wouldn't be
six
surprised.
consecutive quarters of not good financial results. So what we're hearing is basically it seems like they're shaping the company up, slimming everything down. Grand Theft Auto will come out. There'll be a lot of great publicity for the company, and it'll make it really ripe for them to move on.
That's a fair assessment.
Hey, EA, you listening?
Are they still working on Ubisoft?
That too.
One of the weird things we have heard this week is that all of a sudden 360 owners who are sending in their consoles to get refurbished are getting them back with extra heat sinks.
Oh my gosh. You're
nice.
kidding me.
Out of nowhere, they're getting extra heat sinks for whatever reason. And we contacted Microsoft about it, and they told us, regularly updating console components is commonplace within the industry, and as a standard aspect of the business for a variety of reasons, including cost reduction, improved manufacturability, and improved performance. We do not provide details on these updates.
But wouldn't
Shock and awe. And so I was like, well, all right, so great. So these kids are sending in their broken machines and getting nicer machines that work. Are we going to see these in the retail units? And they copied and pasted the same exact quote they gave me before because they don't provide details on it.
Couldn't you
which is
construe
bullshit?
Couldn't you construe that as an admission of a design flaw?
Yes, it is an admission.
You're a
of
design flaw. Where's your admission, jerk?
I'm not admitting shit.
Yeah.
Neither is Microsoft.
Thank you.
Moving on.
I like the design flaw in the PS3. Price.
Games.
Game over.
Next.
All right. Last thing this week is kind of an interesting story we're going to be running soon about these guys that are claiming this 19-year-old programmer from San Jose got a lot of press this week claiming that he is going to program software that can make you so you can run your Vista games like Shadowrun and Halo 2 on XP.
Isn't that called a patch?
Yeah.
Would that be called Microsoft suing him?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we contacted Microsoft about it, and the vibe we got was, this is bullshit, so why are we even going to talk about it? I mean, we looked into it the company is called Falling Leaf Systems. There's a bunch of shady nonsense. Their website used to accept $50 to become part of this membership program.
But what do you get if you do that?
Nothing. You get to try the software out when it's available, of which there's none. They shut down that program after they made just enough capital that they wouldn't talk to us about. And they also have set something up called this through the They're saying if you pre-order Shadowrun and Halo 2 through our Amazon account, you get to try out our Vista software for free, so you can play these games on XP. As it turns out, if you buy it through their Amazon account, they also make 10% of the profit.
So is dude living in his mom's basement or what?
Yeah, pretty much. He's a 19-year-old kid out of San Jose. Who knows if he's in college? And they're claiming they're doing this thing. We've talked to Jason Cross, one of our buddies at Extreme Tech, pretty much called bullshit on it. He said, wait till you see anything, and we haven't seen anything.
Hey, 19-year-old kid, F you.
Dude, he lives in
and
San Jose.
and even if you happen to be a genius who produces something, Microsoft's going to give you a cease and desist anyway.
That's
So
kind of the problem of it all,
good
right? Is
luck
if they
with that.
actually get it working.
If you actually get it working, you're fucked anyway.
Remember when we were interviewing Itagaki a couple weeks ago, and Halo 2 had not come out yet on PC, and he handed me he was like, hey, you want this copy of Halo? I was like, yeah, and he gives it to me.
Do
and
you
I'm
have Vista?
no.
Oh.
So I was like, it was such
So
an
you want
anticlimax.
this? You want this?
No. I really just wanted to try it, more than anything. But fuck.
Yeah, I guess those Vista only game sales kind of soft so far.
Yeah, I wanted to see if Ron Perlman's character's face still popped in at the last minute.
You've heard Jeff Green talk about it. The Vista's got to have some more compelling reason for you to go and get it, right?
Sounds like the PlayStation 3.
But you know what? Vista is a platform, and what platform has ever like launched perfect and like in shape. DS didn't.
The Wii,
You know,
apparently.
Apparently the Wii. You're right.
But nobody seems to care.
except for the 300,000 motherfuckers who bought that shit this
Every
week.
goddamn month.
Yeah.
The platform of boards.oneup.com is not new, but it has changed a lot. We hope you guys will come and participate in that community because I think it's gotten a lot better. Shane is actually...
I think it's improving.
Also, I
keep
don't,
the improvements coming.
I don't know if it's just me, but I really like to reply to people that don't have these obscene signatures.
You can turn.
Can you turn signatures
Patrick,
off?
if you go into your account options, you can turn off SIGs.
Thank God.
There you go.
Anyway, come by boards.oneup.com. I'm making a conscientious effort to make sure and like post what we're doing in the second segment. You know, keeping up with One Up Yours, keeping up with everything that's going on in the games business. That's the place. Boards.oneup.com. Until next week, it goes.